Markets downside here to start this morning as we get going into what could be a pretty important week for stocks in general, coming off that absolute blowout jobs report back on Friday that has interest rates back to the upside in a pretty big way this morning. 10-year back above 4%, 2-year higher as well to get things going into a brand new week where we'll get NVIDIA's AI Summit. We'll also get the Tesla event coming up later in the week. We'll touch on both of those coming up. Some insider information, I guess, maybe from that guy who was out test driving full self-driving over the weekend. But we want to get your full review here. But yeah, stocks downside across the board here. There's a lot of little small low float names that are higher to start things off once again this morning. But there's the SPY Q's looking pretty similar here, downside to the tune of about 0.5% right across the board. We're looking at weakness. Oil is the only thing really, 1.6% to the upside right now for crude oil. Some energy names. I mean, still all kinds of unrest over in the Middle East benefiting oil names.
Tough look. Brendo, gas obviously in the weekend took a big move up about 5 or 6 pennies depending on where you're living in this country. So we'll keep an eye on that. Apple in focus today, getting a downgrade from Jefferies, basically saying iPhone 16 demand is overblown and the AI super cycle is maybe 2 years down the road. Also, Amazon getting a bit of a downgrade as well. So we'll keep an eye on those Mag 7.
Every day someone thinks no one's going to buy an iPhone 16 and then wait for Apple earnings. This is all I have to say, because that happens, or seemingly happens every year when they come out with a new one. All right, so give us your first opinion here on
Very
this.
cool. Okay, so there was it was flawless to one, basically until one incident, Brendo. So it was a stop sign. It wasn't a four-way stop sign. It didn't know it wasn't a four-way stop sign. So it started advancing like it thought everybody else had to stop, but that wasn't the case. It's coming out of Yorkdale, by the way, just in case. So I had to hit the brakes hard. But the good thing is it's very intuitive, very, very smooth. It understood not to block the intersection when we got to an intersection that was super crowded. So it knew that because $400 ticket, and if you do that in the city now. So good look there. I liked the braking, the acceleration, the turning. It changed signals. Brendo read the different exits that it had to go to. It knew that it had to make a left, make a right to get into that lane. So it was quite intuitive.
We had, what was his name? Captain Protein, who used to be with us. He's moved on to another job. But he had a Model 3. No, he had a Model Y with FSD. And he was telling me a story one time. He was coming across Wellesley here. And he got to the intersection with, I think it was Bay, and there's the dedicated bike lanes. And it couldn't determine whether or not to stay in the actual road or use the dedicated bike lane to continue through the intersection. So there is still some quirks to work out.
Just one final thing. I was recording, Brendo, and it saw me recording, and it got very displeased. So it shut the entire FSD off, said, no more FSD for the entire drive. And then when I got back to the dealership, shut it off. It gave me a little warning at the end. Stop using your phone.
So we'll get Sharif's video review coming up here later in the week for his experience with Tesla. A couple of headlines to touch on with Tesla this morning as well. Happy Monday, guys. Big week ahead here.
Yeah, happy Monday, everybody. Happy year if you're not a Bills fan, but that's okay. Look, obviously, Robotaxi is going to be in play. We'll talk about that a little bit more this week. You got bank earnings
Friday.
Starting on Friday, obviously. But you know what? You talk about EVs all you want. Oil's been the game, baby. I mean, XOM doesn't have a red day in a while. Fresh all-time highs over there. I feel like, we talk about things that are short till they're not. Why isn't that a long until it's not at this point? Every time I look at that chart, it's up more and more. Downgrades across the board for the big cap tech. I mean, XOM's only up 1 point today. This is what I'm sort of getting at with XOM. Like if you see this going on, the all-time high break was like right about here, 123.75 on the daily. So yeah, this is off to the races. We'll be talking all Mag 7, which I suppose downgrades are a bit of a thing. There is some weakness there, don't get me wrong. Although Tesla in 250 is still a thing. I feel like you just can't get away from this level, can't get away from 51, breaking it out right now. Like, you're now through highs. Ooh,
nice.
Thank you very much, Randy. Appreciate it. We got the banana,
I just got
the sharp
too,
shirt.
So that's good.
Apparently, I don't know if you heard about Sharif's test drive. but the FSD had some problems with some stops. Enough said.
I don't.
It's always coffee.
No, not for me. Not for me. I just got one.
Oh, word?
So thank you so much.
Still coffee
for that,
time for
Randy.
me,
We were just talking about XOM going upsides.
Oh, XOM's a big
We could talk more when we get some. Oh, you like Chevron now? Okay. Yeah. I was looking at XLE as well. I mean, look at this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like 7 straight up days here. So yeah, the market continues to rock and roll. Welcome again. It's 8:35. It should be another good day. I mean, the market's going to open up down here today. There's some negative stories. We talked about Amazon. Well, we will be talking about Amazon. They're down a couple here, but now starting to bounce actually a little bit back up to the upside here off of 183. I guess not too much. 183.75. I like Tesla today, as Neil mentioned there, at 250. Another key level. Apple. Just going through some of the names that Brendan maybe mentioned there, just in case you weren't sure of what they were up or down. Apple down 1% there today as well. Looking at the SOXL, SMH, AMD. So these names are the ones that are rocking one more time. They continued to lift this market up on Friday. We talked about where NVIDIA was, where AMD was on Friday. I mean, look at this huge candle to the upside there from 160 up to 172.50. I think we continue to go even higher now on advanced micro devices. And then NVIDIA is still not near that 130 yet, but that's going to be pushed in the next couple of days. There's an AI event all week. There's an NVIDIA one early and an AMD one late. So we'll continue to watch out for these. But yeah, so far so good here as we look at this market. Oh yeah, that's right, the NVIDIA split there. We're still waiting for 140. Still a lot of room to go, I feel like, to the upside. A lot of money on the sidelines. We'll see if they can come in places other than oil.
Yeah, this is that event getting underway today, in fact, for the next couple of days here, the NVIDIA AI Summit in Washington. Whether or not we'll get any kind of significant headlines coming from that remains to be seen. Typically, anytime this company is involved and there's speeches involved, something interesting at least gets dropped for the overall market. But yeah, so NVIDIA's AI Summit today through the 9th, and then the 10th, of course. It's all about Tesla.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Sean, the first thing he walked in and told me today, it's going to be a big week for Lisa Su. It's like, what's going on? And he's like, oh, there's an AI summit. Okay, got it. My mistake. Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that, obviously, because we've been watching about the Blackwell demand, especially that dual Blackwell demand possibly being kicked back to more to 2025 rather than later this year. So we'll keep eyes on that. I want to hear about some of the other AI chip manufacturers and how much production they're able to squeeze out of Taiwan Semi, because we know Taiwan Semi is basically giving them the majority of their production capacity to NVIDIA. So keep tabs on that. We know last week as well, we got that environmental headline, Brendo, that allows to build foundries without the environmental impact assessment, which helps with turnaround times and costs.
They're going to need them in a hurry. I was going to show you this as well. This was, last week we were talking about this recall of the Cybertruck. It was only 27,000, but 27,000 Cybertrucks being recalled. They've come out and said, this is absolutely nothing. It's a software issue. There was a delay, I was reading, with the reverse camera. So that when you put the Cybertruck into reverse, the actual screen wouldn't pop up to show you the camera instantly. There would be a slight delay. So it's a simple software fix, apparently, anyways, for this Cybertruck issue. But yeah, as you were saying, guys, Tesla looking pretty good here.
Yeah, they all, I mean, whatever. Like, it's always just a software thing. So not the same as other recalls. Those headlines, I think you should just find another way to say it. But you're now through what was the brick wall all week that was at $250 level. More importantly, $251, I'd say. So this is going to set up sort of, you don't have to worry about where the key price is on Tesla. I think certainly it's to me, it's an over-under type of day. Like if we're holding above 250, specifically even that 251, I'm just looking long. If we lose it, you might have to lose 248. So I think it's incredibly bearish there. But, you know, Tesla was doing great volume. The gravity around that level was huge. I just feel like the room to break it away, there's 54 and 57. If you remember, when they had those delivery numbers come out, when you're watching the live level 2 and we were watching the tape, it was very clean through 57. The bid dropped to 54. And then when 54 dropped, it dropped to like 50 to 51. So I think through, as long as you're over this 250 level and hold it above, I think there's room to 254. And then 257 is kind of like where that shelf was. The top was 260, but the shelf was 257. And when it lost that bid, it was like dropping the bids $3. It did it a couple times on that delivery day. So I think there's room to get to that level here. I mean, obviously all bets are off when the event happens in a couple of days because, you know, if it doesn't go right, it could be a sell the news event. But for now, Tesla got above the resistance. Got to look for the long continuation over to try and fill in some of this gap.
Yeah, I mean, Tesla right now, we just put out the sticky note. Tesla is out here on that note. And I mean, I really like those levels coming through. Same ones today. So we'll be looking at that and taking these trades. So Tesla 250 long, watch out for a 252 break. That's what we've been sort of hovering around right now early on. Let's see if we can get through that 252. But I really like it there today. We just put the note out. We have Michael Noss coming out pretty soon here. But that's going to be what we're looking at, just this little break. Also, yeah, I mean, I don't know, just even on the 20-minute chart, I like trading key levels. 250 is going to be a key level. So we're there, right? It's just like when Apple's at that 225, when NVIDIA, AMD's at 170 flat. You know, there's going to be some key levels that we like to see. So I like that 250. So we'll wait to see if we can get long there. I have a feeling we will. This name moves multiple dollars at the open pretty much every day. Whether or not there's, you know, the jobs report or the market just opens up like right here, 245 on Friday, all the way to 250 basically, and then back down to 245 again. So you travel up 5, down 5, $10. Then you take out the tops. Then you make the bottoms again. So it could be a roller coaster ride for Tesla, and I expect more of that leading up to the event, but I think you want to stay long.
All right, as mentioned, Mr. Noss joining us on a Monday to give us a few ideas for the week ahead. And as we kind of teed things off here with, we're going to talk about energy and oil specifically. It's still holding on to decent gains. We're coming off in a hurry, still 1.24% right now for crude oil to the upside on the futures side of things. There he is. Happy Monday, Mr. Noss. How was your weekend?
So far, so good. Well, I guess it's over now, so I guess it was good. But how was your weekend?
Yeah, not long enough. Agreed.
I'm still working on my first coffee here. So I'm booting up slowly this morning. We'll put it that way.
Same. Let's provide some narrative here from a technical standpoint, maybe on this energy move. We've all seen the headlines, you know, and understand, you know, the situation over in the Middle East and how that's affecting this market. But from a technical standpoint here, what are you seeing?
Yeah, so one of the benefits of my process being technical, so I avoid the headlines. I found out the headlines after I saw the charts, and usually the way it works for me, I've got my own little bubble here. But so just to get started, we can start with the monthly chart of XLE, just showing that this has been, even though, right, we're seeing a news catalyst event right now, this has kind of been setting up for some time, right? I drew in a little ascending triangle on the monthly chart here in XLE. It's been doing a very good job respecting the lower trend line. Every time we get down there, we're met with buyers right away. And then every time we get up near this prior high that happened back in 2015 or so, we're met with sellers. So we're coiling nicely under resistance, which is, from a long-term standpoint, I remember kind of talking to you guys the same thing that was happening in gold a long time ago. If you find a very, very old resistance point, when a market gets up there, you almost want to see this occur. You want to see demand start to slowly chew through supply, people who are trying to short off that level to slowly prove wrong. And that coiling of energy can build for something that actually breaks out and does better. If the market moves straight up to an old resistance point and breaks through, I'm less interested. But this coiling action, this basing action that has happened under that resistance point is very, very interesting to me. Now, the next chart is a weekly chart, and this is, of course, what kind of caught my eye as I was going through my weekly process, scanning through all the different ETFs and sectors, that we had a very nice, strong weekly breakout, and I just highlighted there on strong volume as well. So this downtrend line has been holding all the way since May. Until now, we've been making these lower lows, lower highs. That was broken on volume last week. And again, for a breakout, this is exactly what we want to see. From a weekly standpoint, you can just put your stop under the prior low, and then if we're right and we break to those new highs, you have a great risk-reward trade already. But let's get a little bit more fancy and kind of cute with it. So the next chart here is the daily chart for XLE. And could be slightly overextended on the daily chart. You see from the lows, we're up, I think, 6 or 7 days in a row with lower highs, all the way up to that prior resistance zone. Now, just like I mentioned, you generally want to see some sort of consolidation. You want to see a little bit of a pullback. You want to see something happen where we're not just going to break through that resistance zone kind of willy-nilly. You're going to see some sort of action that has us rest a little bit before we break through that. So a pullback, I'm going to be interested in. I'm going to watch this throughout the week. Ideally, in my perfect world, we go nowhere for the next 3 to 4 days. And then maybe on Friday when I'm talking to you guys, there's a breakout to get bought here. But I always need to bring an idea. And going through, I took a look at CNQ. To the next chart here, Canadian Natural Resources. And not just because it's Canadian, but it showed up, and I don't know if this number is correct here, but it showed up on, the next chart there. It showed up with a 34.69 days to cover. Now, for those who don't know, again, days to cover is the amount of shares that are outstanding short divided by the average daily volume. So if every trade in CNQ was a buy, how many days would it take for all of these shorts to get out? Now, this can happen even though it's only about 10% shorted, because if it's a massive float, right? It's a big, big company. It's like $35 or $39 billion market cap. So it's a big company. But that just means there is short squeeze potential in a name like CNQ, which you can see is pretty correlated to what we're seeing in the energy space right now anyway. So I'm watching this one as well because we've had those 3 or 4 inside days. I'm watching this upper trend line. If we break through that upper trend line, these shorts could start to get worried. We have the monthly chart down below in the bottom corner. You can see we're pressing up right against all-time highs on this one as well. So this might be a name that if energy and oil continues, right, you need to get the natural resources somewhere, and that's what we do up here in Canada. So this might be a good name. I'm going to triple check that days to cover number. If that's legitimate, then that could be a good long-term squeeze. Again, assuming we break this downtrend, which I'm just representing with that downtrend line.
Float, 1.08 billion shares on outstanding float for CNQ. I had no idea, but yeah, no, it's one of those trades I think for the next few weeks here, maybe even going into the new year. Definitely worth keeping an eye on. We'll watch out for some more ideas possibly from the energy sector. Michael Noss back with us after the close tonight. We'll see you then.
I'll talk to you then.
Thank you very much, Sir Michael. A little bit.
Sir Michael.
Yeah, I like that. I like the Canadian flavor to that. A little CNQ action in there. No, and it's interesting. I didn't realize it was that big of a short float. I knew there was a bit of one, but look, energy's been strong, no question about it. We were just talking about how you just can't ignore energy these days. It's the same way like Chinese ADRs every single day are going up, but energy, I feel like they're in a much better spot. He mentioned XLE there, and I know CNQ. It's not much of a day trading stock. Don't get me wrong. I like the thesis. I think certainly this one could break out. If I put up a daily chart, you get the 50 and the 200 period merging. But as we were sort of saying earlier, you almost start with like this XOM. The pattern that I sort of noticed with XOM is, okay, well, the last 4 days on the upward trend, look at what it did. The dip into prior high and go. The dip this time pretty much into the prior close and go because it wasn't going anywhere. It was a sideways. It didn't gap up. Then it does gap up, dips into prior close, and goes. So another gap up here. I mean, the prior close is essentially $125. So it kind of feels to me like a little dip into prior close, continue trend. Now, you obviously have to watch out to see what oil futures are doing. You don't want to be fighting the trend if there's like a few dollars to the downside and positive talks coming out of the Middle East. Obviously, then you don't want to just be sitting on a random bid in XOM, but it's got this nice little pattern. When it's gapped up, usually you dip into the prior close, and that's been a good way. If it goes sideways, which is not the case today, you look for maybe a pullback into prior resistance, or prior highs. So I do like XOM here. You know, looking at that 125, we can hold on to the open. Expecting a bit of a dip buy, at least early on.
Check out, I think, Walmart here today. We'll just see here just where it's trading exactly, where we're going to open up. Yeah, okay, so 80-70 right here, 80-88. Walmart right now looking to me like it wants to break out as well, breaking higher, 81.65 or so. No earnings to come for a long time. November 19th, they're not going to be talked about for a while. The retail is always for the last sector to come with the reports. But I just thought that this name sort of coiling up here reminded me of when he was talking about XLE looking to break out a little bit. You have Walmart going one way, trying to break out higher, and Costco down here at the 50-period moving average, which you don't get to buy too often on dips, right? And so this time it broke, it went a little lower. So we're right here right now. A name to look at is Costco there. But I think Walmart, if you like Costco, I think this might be the better play, breaking through 81.75 or so on WMT. So I like this play, Walmart right there. Just, I don't know, talking about energy, but we don't talk about Walmart enough, I feel like. Not doing too much, not a great day trading stock either, to be honest with you. But that break to me gets something interesting going. So yeah, I like Walmart. And then yeah, just on XLE, we've been talking about this name for a while. It hasn't really moved. It's gone sideways. It's not like you've missed the trade. Basically in the same spot it was a year ago, you know. So you haven't missed much. You're not going to get a dividend, you know, crazy, anything like that out of this. You'd rather own the names rather than an ETF. So, but right now, anyways, XOM, gray one, XLE, trying to play catch up. Chevron, another big name here, trying to get higher as well. Just trying to break through the 200-period moving average. So if you think something's a little depressed right there, this is an asset that can get going here. Obviously, this is a commodity-driven rally over the last little while. We've seen oil go up to the upside. We've seen gold continuously going. Today, with Brendan mentioned the yield getting back up there to the upside. So we can look at some TLT. We talked about this the other day as well when we had Raider Trader on who liked it, and we've dipped down since. So that might be a good buy as well down here to $94, $95. So okay, I was just waiting to hear for the call for Adara, but if we are ready then, okay, let's go to Adara.
Upgrade list here. Alibaba getting an upgrade from Macquarie with a $145 price target, and Bernstein upgrading Coupang. So we continue to have Chinese ADRs on watch this week. CN getting an upgrade from Wells Fargo, and Foot Locker getting upgraded here by Gordon Haskett. Downgrades, two heavyweights here to start this list. We have Apple getting a downgrade from Jefferies Financial with a very specific price target of $212.92. You can get more details on this downgrade in our watch list, in addition to a mixed note on Apple from Mizuho that came out late on Friday. We have Amazon getting a downgrade here from Wells Fargo. More info on that also available in our watch list. American Express getting a price target increase, but a downgrade from JP Morgan Chase, and Humana getting a downgrade here from Jefferies Financial. This name continuing to be on watch here after losing one of its Medicaid stars last week. Jefferies taking their price target from over $500 to $253, guys.
Ooh. Oh no, Jefferies. Yeah, Foot Locker is the one that kind of caught me off guard, I think, a little bit there. It hasn't been going all that well for Foot Locker over the last, I don't know, for a long time. So look, Foot Locker, it's not really at the right level, I think, for like the obvious, hey man, you're at the big support level, let's slap that upgrade on and get it to bounce a little bit. I thought that would be like $20 here on the weekly chart sets that up. If you zoom in though, a little bit, they do have, like this 27 level has been a key one the last couple of days. I think that could be, like that's worth watching at least. I mean, at the end of the day, like you just want some kind of a catalyst. It doesn't really matter what it is, but the $27 level sets up a decent resistance. It just feels like, oh, if this had been a little bit closer, it could have been a nice little fade up there. You get an upgrade, you get a downward trending stock in the daily and the weekly, and you get an obvious resistance level. It might need a couple of days. It's worth keeping on the back burner. But just watching this looking at this 27 level, I think that's the key one on Foot Locker. We're going to talk about Alibaba and the Mag 7 downgrades to be sure. 27, I keep my eye on it for a couple of days. If you do get a rally into it, I think Foot Locker has just been a short till it ain't.
Look, for me, it's going to be, I mean, I like all those names. I like Foot Locker down there at $24. It's interesting to get that upgrade. We'll see where it goes for sure. I said Amazon. Amazon, I put on the sticky note here today, and I put it down for a long. I thought that there'd be a key level there, 180 to come into. I want to see it get down to that level on the downgrade. I mean, you know, that's fine. Stocks are allowed to go up and allowed to go down. People are allowed their opinions. Amazon down 1.4%. If the market does lose sort of this moving average right here, the 50 period, which it's tempting to do right now, then maybe Amazon does drip into this 180. Ever since we broke 180, it's been a nice move up to 195. Bounced around there a little bit, and now has fallen back. Had a great turnaround day on Friday. Absolutely monstrous. Came back into some sort of support that I thought anyways, down into 180. I wanted to come in and take this name long, come in and see the downgrade. Fine, let it come back in. I like this sort of moving average situation down here where we have 177 with the 200, 179 or so with the 50. And then just as a day trade, I really like this support down here. I don't know if we get there. I mean, honestly, it's acting a little bit better now than when we wrote the sticky note down. It was at 183. Now you're almost up $1 from there. If it dropped $1 the other way, maybe we can get a 181. So something like that down there for Amazon. I'm looking for a bigger bounce off of there, not just a scalp play. Like we can get 180. Let's see if we can hold it back to like 183 or so, but it has to get down there first. So that's the name that's interesting. And then Apple, as Brendan already started with, I'm not going to go over it. We'll talk about it. But Apple on the downgrade, I mean, I just want to stay short, but we'll wait to see what happens with Apple.
Pfizer just popping up in front of me once again. We'll talk about this a little bit more coming up here in the rundown, but 2.8% right now, had a nice little bounce there. Starboard getting involved with Pfizer to the tune of about $1 billion. There was also a note on Uber, Truist today, raising their price target on Uber to $99, up from $89, while maintaining their buy rating, which is interesting ahead of Elon's big event coming up later this week.
I was just going to say the same thing. I mean, like, that's an interesting jump before we get all the information about something that could fundamentally change a business model there for Uber, so I'll keep an eye on that. But this Pfizer note, Brendo, super interesting here. It looks like, you know, you're getting some activism with respect to this stock. CEO Albert Bourla has been widely criticized for spending way too much money, getting away from that, you know, drug development cost efficiency model that they had for the 10 years prior. So they're going and talking to previous CEOs and previous CFOs to try to get them on board, to try to help the company, because they're not really happy with the look.
Yeah, I mean, there's been, I guess, that bit of a trend in that sense from, you know, Bob Iger going back to Disney. There's been a few situations where it's worked out okay. Although, I mean, has it worked out okay for Disney? I guess it remains to be seen at this point. Here's the 10-year. We were talking about that real quick. So 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a row. This is a daily chart for the 10-year, straight back through 4% and then some, coming off that blowout jobs report back on Friday. If you missed it, much, much higher than expected number comes across, while unemployment or the unemployment rate to the downside as well. Everyone was expecting basically a flat print, but almost 2 to 1 on the creation side. And
it's an aggressive move here, Brendan. If I can show my chart here for a second, Fabian. Here is the look at the 2-year on the left and the 10-year on the right. I mean, it took us quite a bit of time to get down there, and very, very quickly we got right back up there. Now we're knocking the door, as you said, of that 4%. The overnight high on the 2-year, the shorter dated yield 3.974. So we're right there, guys. Going to keep my eye on this one. We still have that 25 bips still expected in November, Brendan.
Yeah, down from initially right out of the gate following the last one. It was 50, but that's been pulled back to 25, as you were mentioning, through November. Here's Uber, not really doing a heck of a lot. Downside a little bit this morning, about 0.25%, guys.
Yeah, it is an interesting timing, I would say, for like any kind of a move on Uber the week of the robotaxi event. It feels if I was going to mention Pfizer, I guess we'll get to Pfizer a little bit later there. No, I don't think you want to be too crazy in one direction or the other on Uber if you're swinging it, let's just say, in front of the robotaxi event. That's obvious for Tesla. It's kind of obvious for Uber unless you're making a bit of a bet. The problem with Uber has been right in here. It's not a head and shoulders necessarily yet, but you can kind of see $75. It broke it out, faded it, got a little bit of bounce, stayed on trend, holding the higher lows. So good news, it stayed on trend, holding those higher lows. The bad news, out and about above 75, has been that fail. It was resistance on the daily, spent a couple of days up there, and it's what it did. Like when you broke 75, super strong day, couple of bucks, consolidation day, okay, that's pretty bullish, and then dump city, right? And since then, it's been in a downward trend back underneath said 75 level. So if it can't break 75, I'm not excited about this. Pretty much at all. I'd be a little bit worried about, you know, if you would fail the 75 again, maybe you could retest 72. I think it's going to be a much different story when we get after the event, however. Like, regardless of what Tesla does, I think if they knock it out of the park, that's probably going to be bearish for Uber. If they fumble it at the goal line, I think that's going to be good news. But for today, I think you just look at this 75. It's an obvious key level to play off of, and I'm bearish on it based on the failed break. on Uber. I don't think this is going to be one we trade. I mean, obviously Tesla's going to come first, and there's Mag 7 names to look at, a little bit of Mara on the note today. So, I don't think I would necessarily trade it, but certainly after the event. You don't want to sleep on this after the robotaxi event.
I missed all the Mara and all that stuff. Rob's fixing something there. Yeah, so if we lose the stream, just please refresh. No, we won't do anything right now. All right, Lucid right now just coming out with some delivery numbers, just hearing it in our ear. So we'll see if anything's moving around here with Lucid. Nah, it doesn't look like anything. Once I see the number, I'll get it to you. But right now, Lucid coming out with delivery numbers. You saw Rivian get really hit on their delivery numbers. We can have a quick look there. Once I see it, I'll give it to you, but it's not moving, so no big deal. $10 coming into play one more time for Rivian. We'll see if that can hit again here today. I mean, it was a great level there on Friday where we took it finally at the end of the day and then made that move up 40 cents. In the middle of the day, that was a good one. Didn't get back down there. We were waiting for it at the end of the day. Remember we talked about that 980 being the break-all spot? Well, it was amazing and it just held, that's all. If you're going back here for Rivian, you can see it's that level right down there. It almost held right to the penny, 980. So this is going to be an interesting level there as well to see if Rivian can get back to the upside. Obviously nothing to do with robotaxi or anything like that. Yeah, it doesn't look like these Lucid delivery numbers are doing anything. I don't even have them yet, so we'll get over that. And then coming up soon on our watch list, we're going to talk about this in a minute, the Chinese names just continue to keep, their move higher. NIO up another 1%, BABA touching that 118, PDD going, FXI still going. So we really like the Chinese names one more time here again today.
5,800 on the dot, guys, is where we closed out on the ES December contract on Friday. 58.08 is the overnight high. We're well below that right now as we sold off quite aggressively overnight. 57.75, that same area of support that we were using on Friday. Let's see if we hold up again. If we give up 57.75, because we're awfully close to it right now, we're looking at that 50-point level where we also found support earlier. Now, if we start trending up, we're looking at 5,800 obviously as resistance, but if we continue to go from there, it's 58.25.
If you haven't done so yet, make sure you grab our absolutely free watch list. Head down to the description of this video right now. There's a link there. All you need is your email address. Enter that, comes right to your inbox every single day, has everything you need to know. What's moving and why in the pre-market every single day for free. Let's talk about Apple. A couple of significant downgrades to talk about in the tech sector this morning. Here's Apple trying to bounce off of last week's support levels that came into play both Thursday and Wednesday of last week, trying to hold just below 225 right now. But not one, but two separate negative notes here for Apple today.
Yes, sir. And now a new price target from Jefferies, basically representing about a 6% downside from where we're trading at right now. 212.92, downgrading it from a buy to a hold. Essentially, they think the iPhone 16 and 17 sales growth projections have been widely overestimated. They also say, there's really a lack of a significant catalyst here to push people to buy the phone. There's no AI on it yet. There's a new camera button, this, that, and the other. They're also talking about the broad adoption of AI on smartphones being a 2 or 3 year project down the line. So they're not convinced that we see a super cycle quite yet, Brendo.
Yeah, I mean, right on schedule, right? Every time we were saying, like every year, it seems like there's a long lineup of everyone saying they're not going to miss. And let's be honest, we don't know. We don't know. Let's wait for the earnings report. Past few years, they've said the same thing, and it's gone the other way. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, that's the good part about it is, of course, we'll see, but you can't ignore the price action. I mean, we saw what happened on, was it Tuesday? No, it was Wednesday, I believe it was, that 227 level, where it was so strong, bouncing off the 223 support. Everything looked like, okay, yeah, Apple's strong today. It's going to be consolidating and breaking out in the afternoon. Then with sellers galore at 27. On Friday, it tried to gap above the level, complete rejection of that level. And then we end up closing at 27 on strength. So you just couldn't bust through that 27 level. I think that's obvious. If it gets up there, it's a fade. Shorted at 227, maybe into 227.5. I don't know necessarily that it's obvious that you get there. It feels a little bit better now. So there is the afternoon resistance, or at least before we had that close at 225.5. But it's a go zone at the 227. Like, that's not changing whatsoever. What's different today is one more bounce off this 223 here. It's an obvious big level of support. I think it's holding for now, and I mean support till it isn't. If you lose it, I think you got a lot of room, probably at least like $5-6 down to 217. I think it needs to lose like 220-275 or so. Like, prove to me that you're breaking 223 before this is a breakdown trade. But this is the short the pop. If we get to that 27, it's a short for me on Apple until proven otherwise based on the selling that's already happening at that area.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we wrote down here for our note 226 short. I just want to stay short on this. I don't want to look long on Apple yet. We'll still stay short. I mean, it was, again, downgraded there. I love the stock. I mean, we're still in it. I'm not selling any of my shares. We actually did recently sell, not recently, back up into here, maybe it was into here at 225 or so. No, it was up here. When we made this move back, we got scared when we dripped down into there into 200, sold some back into here, and now we're still at that area. But until we get through on the daily, I just think it's pretty simple. This is like 228, 229, 230. We have to be above this area for me to think about being bullish. I mean, I like the dropout spot here at 222.75. I mean, that's the 50-period moving average. I think if we lose that, then yeah, into 215 is probably the case. But for right now, here's 226. Whoop. I really like that level right there, 226. We had some consolidation there at the end of the day before a pop on the imbalance. I'm not worried about imbalances there today off of Monday morning, but right there, 226.30, 226.50 is where I think we're wrong. So I'm going to go short into 226. Very, very simple trade for me. We're just going to wait for it. I like that Apple. And if you just want to wait for the trade, I think this is the one for you. Wait for the short. If you're going to wait for a short, this is probably the one. I don't want to short anything in the AI space. Amazon, I already have a play for that one. China's going to be interesting. Bitcoin's up, now coming back down 63,000. We just broke to the low side, so we can talk about that as well. Obviously, I'm not going to be shorting Pfizer, so lots of things to look at. But for me, the number one short idea and the number one idea here is 226. So we'll see if it can hold it. I got to give it to 226.50, but if we can get up there, we're already offering $1 higher from where we are right now. So that could be risky as well, as the imbalances are 925. Coming out into 930. So we'll have to wait to see if Apple does get going here on a little bit of some buy momentum. I mean, we're underneath VWAP here on the futures. We're underneath the 50-period moving average. Remember what we were saying? If we can start the day underneath, maybe we do get a flush back into 20,000, which will give us some good buy opportunities in other names. The question is, do we short Apple to begin with, or do we wait for the pop? Time will tell.
Production numbers just coming through here for Lucid. Didn't really do much on this, but Q3 production, 1,805 vehicles. Deliveries, however, Sharif, 2,781 cars.
Okay.
So they made 1,805. They delivered nearly 3,000. So
they're offloading old inventory then.
I guess, yeah. November 7th is going to be the earnings for Lucid. So again, Q3 production, 1,805. Deliveries 2781. Wow. So it did pop there a little bit anyways, about 10 cents, but right back down. Yeah, there's Wells Fargo downgrading Amazon, pointing to slowing growth, and the Walmart angle as well. Downside here for Amazon today.
Yeah, so guys, you guys know about this already, the fulfillment by Amazon. So if you're a reseller, you can have Amazon send out your product. Obviously, they charge you a bit off the top. Listen to this. So now Walmart has been doing the same thing for a while, but now they're undercutting Amazon by a substantial amount, 15% lower for the FBA fulfilled by Amazon, or the Walmart version of that. So looking to undercut them. And that doesn't have Wells Fargo feeling too good about the stock. Downgrade here from overweight to equal weight, a price target reduction from 225 to 183. They cited several reasons. One I just mentioned. The other ones are investments in the Project Kuiper, which is obviously a satellite internet project to take on what's it called? Starlink, and the pressure from, moderating growth in advertising revenue. Last week we saw that they were going to add more videos on Amazon Prime, so I was kind of confused about that little headline, but that's what they're saying.
Yeah, more videos and more commercials as well. We were watching a movie on the weekend. There was 5 ads.
Jeez.
It used to be 2, maybe 3. Now they're just
really
slowly,
doing it.
yeah, 5 ads before the movie started.
5 ads. I mean, I was watching, there's an NHL thing called Face Off. It's really good. There's one with Mitch Marner. It's like a behind-the-scenes documentary thing. So we've been watching that. There's one 30-second ad at the beginning. But we're Prime members, but I guess you got to pay for the extra. I guess it's always.
I've never
ads,
seen
right?
5. 5 seems a
What movie was
What
it,
were you
Brent?
watching?
Must have been a pretty new release, I would imagine.
Had to be.
I don't know what's going on Amazon these days. And then we were watching, oh, you know what we started watching? It's so stupid. But Chimp Crazy, I think it's called Chimp Crazy. It's like Tiger King. And it's just basically, but it's this lady that's crazy about chimps.
Gotcha, yeah, okay.
It's insane. Like, the thing is that these remember IKEA monkey? There was a monkey running around here, IKEA, wearing this pimped out jacket, like looked like $1 million, and it was really super cute. And they're really cute when they're small. But the thing is that these chimpanzees grow up to be 200, 300, 400 pounds.
It's strong.
And would just rip literally. And there's a sad story because there's this one that sort of went haywire here. I may cancel my Apple short. Anyways, it's fun to watch, but it shows you how insane some of these things are. I'm going to cancel my Apple short here because the market is starting to go back up. But anyways, I think it's called Chimp Crazy. It's an HBO documentary made by the same guys as Tiger King. Anyways, okay. Over to Amazon. All right. So I like the stock a lot. We talk about that. I think it's one of the better names to own right here at current levels. It's above the 50 period. Looks like it wants to hold it. I had dreams about getting long this name. I thought we would be able to get a better price than this when we saw this downgrade, but it's kind of just spitting in that face, basically. It gets down into 183, then since the traders sit back down at their desks, they just start going long. So there it is right there, 183.05. Nice move to the upside here. Let's see if it continues to go. This is what we're looking at. I like the long. It's on the sticky note. I said take advantage of the downgrade and try to buy these dips. When I wrote this note, we were down here at 183. I thought we could get to that 180 level down here. I don't think we're going to get to that anymore. It's starting to go upside. If we do fall, look, let the trade come to us. We like 180 because it's just a key level. And there's the breakout of 180 anyways. So I thought we could drift down if the market was negative here off the open. Amazon downgrade, maybe we get that. But I'm now thinking maybe 181, 150 is where we got to start this party. So that would be something for Amazon for me. So let's be patient. It's on the sticky note. I wrote it down. It's a great idea. I love the long, not the short in Amazon.
And what's interesting is, like, anyway, you were right. That is the name of it. It's worth checking out.
Crazy, yeah.
Crazy. I don't recognize anybody in it, but
it's a documentary.
It's a documentary.
Famous. You would recognize nobody. Yeah.
No, usually like the Tiger. I've heard of the Tiger what's his face guy before. But look, so for Amazon specifically, the 183.50 level, it's already done this. Like, I don't want to call it a liquidity grab because it spent the entire day on Thursday underneath 183.5. However, that was the exact bottom on Friday. So you get support that turns into a dump that turns into support again. Look, over under, it seems to me like if it holds this at the open, it's a long into 187. And if it loses it, you really have to wait for the bottom. And the bottom is, that 181, then you've got the 200 period, the 50 period moving average, I should say. So if we lose 183.5, I think it's a big time wait on this stock until it gets to the low. But 183.5 is that key over under price. I like Tesla. Obviously, looking for Apple at 227 is a bit of a short. Don't know that this is the one I want to try like a quick over under on in a downgrade just yet. But the 183.5, if it holds this, then all you did is liquidity grab and then make a higher low. So support till it's not on Amazon there.
Quickly, shout out to our friends over at WorkSport with a update this morning, strategic update and upcoming product launches announced this morning. A couple things. We were talking about this little penny stock. We were talking about this going back to last week up here in the pre-market. A couple things to note on this. Basically, the company coming out giving a financial update, which would maybe lead a few to believe they're trying to avoid a reverse split to achieve that $1 million listing price. The company then highly confident maybe that they're going to get that 180-day extension on the NASDAQ listing side of things. So again, WKSP WorkSport listed on the NASDAQ with a PR release this morning. Worth a note. I mean, it did move right out of the gate, at least back on Friday. Let's talk about China here. A couple of, that is China. China is not actually a stock, if you tried to pull that up this morning. Alibaba, I mean, I guess it is if you want to look at FXE. It's an ETF. Alibaba gapping to the upside this morning. There's a couple of cautious notes on this recent move that we've seen in some of these ADRs. Analysts essentially coming out saying it's too much, too fast.
Oh yeah, you've got a mixed bag here. There's really no consensus amongst analysts about what the look is for China. But here, let me tell you what Li Auto is doing. Let's just take this one because I've got a nice connection with Li Auto. This is one hell of a rounded bottom here, breaking through 30, Fabian, on its way up. But we saw what it did before, 47. So let me tell you what we're waiting for tomorrow. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. local time in I think in Shanghai, the National Development and Reform Commission is going to drop what they call a policy guidance update. That's what analysts are waiting for. It's going to get into the nitty-gritty of what this 2 trillion yuan is going to be spent for. We already know one is earmarked for consumption, the other one is earmarked for debt, but we don't know where it goes into those sectors. So keeping an eye on that. We already know the Chinese indexes have surged 25%, Brendo, in the last few weeks, and the CSI 300 has a 9-day winning streak. So good luck for China so far.
Yeah, more strength right across the board. 2.3 here for Alibaba. Macquarie, one of those talking positively about this one individually, guys.
It's another day, another gap to the upside for the Chinese ADRs. However, the last 2 times that we've gapped above these levels, it's been a sell at the open. So gap, sell in the prior high, gap lower, so it doesn't matter, but then gap higher, sell in the prior high. So this time you're getting a gap over. The prior high is essentially right here, but it's a little different because he sold at the open. So I think like if you're going to fill in the gap, it might be down toward this 115 area, specifically on Alibaba. That's just been the pattern where you get these most of the action is happening overnight. If you're trading these, like they're just gapping, and you're not getting a ton of buy action in our sessions. I think this is pulling back into 115. And if you're looking for something, sometimes people like trading like the cheaper names. It might be a little more structured. NIO's got this $7 level the last couple of days where you've bounced twice off of 6.5 last couple of sessions. And then you've got this nice little $7 area. I think if it breaks out from here, it's got a lot of room to rally. It's been hanging out inside a bit. So at least there's a consolidation here. And unlike Alibaba, unlike most of the other Chinese ADRs, NIO has a support at 6.5. It's got a nice little consolidation resistance at 7. 7 breaks. I think it's got room to rally. You never really have to risk all that much on a breakout on NIO, just a few pennies. I just like it better when stocks are trading at nice little key levels for a bit and you can play off support and resistance. With all this gapping around on Alibaba, it's almost as if you're just waiting for the gap to fill. If you get your shot at that 15, great. But NIO here, if it can take 7, at least that looks a little bit better. I'm not really paying much attention to Li Auto at all.
I was actually thinking about this, this not just over the weekend, but just thinking about these Chinese names. And then, to come in today and see it up another 2%, like I was already thinking that maybe we had seen this top, and then it was such a nice battle back, and then we all of a sudden got this dip, which made me a little bit nervous the other day, thinking like, okay, now we're into 112. Did we just miss the top again on this name? Because we had missed the top the first time when it came up here into 90, and we were, again, we talked about where we're long this name down here in the 70s. When it came up to 90 here and went up like 30% in a straight line, I was like, okay, well, now we're down here again. And you're not looking so smart because now anybody could buy those same levels that you were touting before. Well, now those levels are gone and maybe not coming back for a very, very long time. But now I'm looking at this top right here and I'm thinking the same thing again. It's like, okay, did we just make this mistake again of seeing this in and about 120 and not doing anything about it? So I think today will be a day where we eventually... Oh, here, we have a cash register sign on here, right here. There it is. We'll eventually start to cash out of some of our Alibaba here today. So we cashed out of Win last week. We talked about that. That looks like it was a mistake. I'm going to have to find out the price. Looks like it's a mistake because it's higher than where it was. I thought it was like 103, 104-ish area right into there because we were breaking. Yes, that must have been right into this area. So I feel like Win, obviously a little bit of a mistake. Another 2.2% up here. Win is at all-time PE valuations right now, so that's a high name. But look at this move up. So I'm just trying to get into different names a little bit. We bought some Berkshire last week for the first time. That seems to have been paying off a little bit here. So I think I'll rotate out of some Alibaba. And look, if I like the move, you could wait for it to calm down and get back in, maybe take the FXI or something like that. Berkshire's not a bad little play there. Or you could take something that if you think, and I wasn't, again, you don't ever want to necessarily get out of the Chinese names and go into anything else if you think the stimulus is going to continue. But I was also thinking ARK, as long as, and you have to like the names, the Teslas, the Palantirs, and all of that of the world, right? But this name above 44 is something interesting as well, as there's a big way higher here with interest rates coming down. I don't mind ARK, but at the same time, China names, I just think are getting a little bit heated. I'm going to take this opportunity today at lunchtime to sell some Alibaba.
All right, Pfizer just made another move back above 29.50, trying to hold there at this point this morning. If you missed it early on, we were touching on this. Starboard taking a position in Pfizer to the tune of about $1 billion on the activist side of things. So this is actually a decent gap. If you look out on a higher time frame, I'll bring up a daily chart here, but getting through some significant levels here for Pfizer.
Absolutely. This is a good look here. TD Cowen, as you mentioned, you're giving them the nod as well. But here's the issue with Starboard, okay? So now they are approaching the former CEO, Ian Reid, as well as the former Chief Finance Officer, Frank D'Amelio. They're looking specifically for support of how they can get this company back into profitable ways. They believe that the current CEO, Albert Bourla, has deviated from the disciplined cost structure and the investment of novel drugs. I was just showing Brendo a chart, the monthly chart on Pfizer. Go back and have a look at what it did in 1998 when they released Viagra. It went up to $150 and $1998. It couldn't break 60 during the pandemic. So we'll have to keep an eye and see what kind of product pipeline they've got here. But they did acquire, Brendo, remember this company, I believe, $70 billion, they spent in acquisitions since 2020. So taking a lot of money off the balance sheet here.
29, if you have a look at the daily chart, at least 29, significant level over the past few months here, which is here. So we're significantly above that, but getting into some resistance now, guys, for Pfizer.
Yeah, I mean, 30's been resistance for sure, which gives you some room because you're bouncing off 20, 29, as you said. You have 29. 25 is the key area for me. It's a 50 period on the daily that's around that price. You slide on over. Just look at when, like the last time we were out and about here. Okay, there's your top just underneath the $30. And when we failed it, there's your resistance at 29.25. So, there was a resistance level for a couple of days, maybe even 3 if you stretch it. Dip in a prior high looks pretty good for Pfizer. Still waiting for this to actually break out after holding the 50 and the 200, but I think it's getting pretty darn close. Candidly, I do own Pfizer in my long term, but I've been looking for a true trend reversal to add. It's done some higher lows. You were breaking out, it looked like back in July, and then all of a sudden it just kind of did nothing off the 200 period moving average. So obviously it needs to break out 30 and a third for a bigger move, but that 29 and a quarter holds the open. I think it's pretty solid along in there. We didn't really get much of a chance to talk some crypto, but crypto, like Bitcoin made the bounce and got to 64,000. I just want to quickly mention Mara here, because if we don't break back out above 64, Mara, the last time this did this, it rejected the 50 period moving average, kind of a couple of days above and then a rejection. You're doing a similar thing in here today, where you had prior resistance at 1680, and that would be like right in here, actually right in there, and then you lost it at 1660 on Friday. So I think a pop and fade. If you're not breaking out the 80 level, then Mara, to me, is in the pullback zone. But if it clears 17, it's like a reversal with $1 to the upside. So initial look is going to be pop and fade on Mara. And that's in the event that, as long as we're not busting through 64,000. Obviously, if you're anywhere close to breaking that out, it does change the litmus a little bit. You're at 63, but there's your 64 resistance on Bitcoin. And as long as it doesn't break, the miners have been relatively weak. So I want to look for a fade in Mara.
All right. You guys know that some of these names that we're going to talk about are going to be on the watch list and on this, at the same time. 2960 long break. I mean, we wrote this down again an hour and a bit ago, and we just bounced off of that exact level. So I think that we nailed it. So we're going to go bang on that one, 2960. That was the level that we wrote out for the breakout. And it was just because of this. Look, you could go 2970. Maybe, but I wrote down 2960, thinking that this would be the level that we'd like to take. So I think we'll still do that. If we're able to take it on a break, that'd be great. Still 5 minutes to go before this market, 6 minutes to go before the market opens. I'm also bidding down here at the bottom. So I feel like we'll probably get the bid first. before the breakout, but if these imbalances come out and get a little bigger here as we approach, we could take this 29.60 almost right away off the jump. So you might want to let it sort of settle down. Pretty mixed on the imbalances right now. Pfizer's there, Alibaba's there. Other than that, we probably, I mean, people are asking us about HIMS. That's on here as well today with a nice little bid imbalance. Other than that, Nokia, I mean, we never trade that. Gold, Barrick Gold. Oh, that's a nice, I'm into this name as well. We bought this name in 16 something. So we might have to get out of some Barrick Gold. That's the only gold that I own. Okay, that's not new. That's new bank down there, NU. So, all right. So right now, just not much going on. There's NVIDIA with a nice little bid as well as 925 hits. So we'll see if there's anything popping off now in the NASDAQ. Microsoft also with a bid here to start with, starting to get paired off. Come on, charts. Let's go. Look at this jump. Boom. This is why it's hard to put your offers sitting there pending, right? So we do still have that order on Apple sitting there, but it looks like Apple's trying to go higher right now as well. As the NASDAQ imbalances have sparked a little bit of interest now, as there goes the NASDAQ back up into day's high. So the market is now out with these imbalances. It's 925 and change. Let's go find out about this chip trade starting to get higher and higher.
Yeah, just be aware of this event in Washington getting underway today. We were just reading, though, it's the conference itself is tomorrow and Wednesday. And then today is the workshops part of it, which, by the way, is $495 per seat if anybody was wondering what it would cost to go to this. It's sold out, but $495 a seat for these workshops today. For this conference, again, the conference tomorrow and Wednesday. Their VP and General Manager of Enterprise Platforms for NVIDIA will give a speech tomorrow at 10 a.m. So might be more of a bigger deal tomorrow. We'll keep an eye out for NVIDIA today.
Yeah, and certainly we're going to be covering that for you guys, obviously, on the How to Trade Midday show. Should this extend into that, we'll keep an eye on NVIDIA. But NVIDIA had a great day Friday. I mean, it's been putting in higher lows and higher highs. I mean, what I want to see specifically is how quickly they're going to be able to roll out Blackwell. We've heard about some delays or some of the tailwinds that they could potentially catch with some more foundries coming online in the States, Brendo, helping their cause.
Thoughts on chips today here, guys?
Like all dressed?
Yeah, well, ketchup for me.
Ketchup. I like the ketchup and the all dressed, but both of those, they get on your fingers, and the next thing you know, you're not like.
That's why we get to lick our fingers.
Yeah, I guess so. That's kind of gross.
If it's tasty. That is what it is. Look, NVIDIA and AMD, obviously you're going to have some movement when you get the events. But today, it's just a different story. Let's just play it by, I don't necessarily think it's going to be a headline-driven day today. AMD was stronger on Friday. NVIDIA's flat today, and we'll get to them in a second. But AMD, the late move in the afternoon was only half the story when it held the 168 into 170. Great opportunity to play into prior resistance for a bit of a breakout trade. I think a similar thing here today. Where you look back, it's got a 171 close, and you got a support level here at this one in the afternoon, 169.60. But I still like this 168.90, like just that level of prior high. You get into there for a dip, which it looks like we might be getting a little bit of one. That could be the play. NVIDIA still needs to take out 125 and do more than 15 or 20 cents. Because it broke that several times. 125 quarter is a level that has to go. It's pretty clean. It was a double top. Might actually break this pretty much at the open with only 2 minutes to go in here. I didn't see an imbalance on any of these. The only imbalances are Pfizer and then that buyout. Oh, no, there's NVIDIA. It was 300,000 actually just came up there on the buy imbalance. So NVIDIA is very likely to break that quarter mark pretty much right at the open.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to say quickly here on AMD. So I have it written down here. It's on the sticky note. We might get filled almost immediately on this level. I like it here. You can go find it at Trader TV Show with only a minute and a half left. But it's AMD right there, 170 to, I didn't actually write it in this part. Oh, okay. Anyways, it's right here, 170 to 172. I like these longs. There's an event coming later on this week. I think it is going to be all about AI, but you can see this market is falling in a little bit off some of those buy imbalances. So AMD, a name that's on the watch here on the sticky note as well. So we'll watch out for that. And then NVIDIA, I didn't put anything down for NVIDIA. Let's just let it happen, right? I think it's 130 I really like. I like this dip down into 122. So a couple key levels there. All right, with a minute left. What's up, Sharif?
We're talking about average true range, son. We're going to talk about gauging realistic profit targets with ATR. If you're into that kind of thing, join us on How to Trade at 11.
I mean, if you're into that. Should be good. Yeah, join those guys every single morning. Today with Joe. as well. So Joe and Sharif going to be coming through today. Get your options questions in. Get all your questions in about average true range or any strategy really. We don't want to pigeonhole it. You can ask these guys about anything, moving averages, Bollinger Bands, whatever. They'll do their best to answer those questions. So okay, NVIDIA, Apple on our minds early. So is Pfizer's on my mind here to see if that breaks lower. Pfizer is coming into some buy levels as well. We'll see what happens here with only 15 seconds left. AMD falling to 171. We're bidding 170.50. Apple, if we get a short, we'll do that, and then Amazon as well.
Yes, sir. The bell brought to you by Worksport. WKSP over there on the NASDAQ. As NASDAQ added to your watch list today, but ring it. There you go. The bell.
The bell opened up.
Yeah, I feel as if the new mallet's got a little heft to it. It's kind of messing with. Did we get it? No. No, I did not get the break. You get. Okay,
break on what stock?
NVIDIA just broke out.
No, I didn't get that.
Looks like it just broke that quarter mark. What did AMD do? I'm going to sit there. I'm going to leave the bid in, see if we get picked up on NVIDIA there. Did not get that fill. What did AMD do off of the open? It's dipping. So dip into that 169 area in play for AMD. So NVIDIA's gone. Tesla's actually heading downside.
What?
Oh, never mind. Okay, bounced off 248.5, but underneath that 250 level, still is Tesla and trying to go. Pfizer, want to check to see if that's still available. Yeah, actually, Pfizer just wicked off the pre-market low, so this is the key. Needs to hold on to this level here. Not a lot of volume, and I don't think Pfizer even open yet. Pfizer doesn't have an opening print that I can see, so I'm going to wait for this one to open up. Do not want to jump in too early.
Yeah, we're long on Pfizer, and I didn't realize how far down. Actually, I don't think it's open yet. No, didn't even realize how far down Tesla had gone right there off this open. So yeah, a little bit of a wax job there. We're gonna still take 250 long if it does come in. Oh boy, though. Oh man, here we go. We're long at one. We talked about AMD, right? We wanted 170. We wrote that down. So now it goes. There it is. It is your first Dollar Club winner right there. It's the first dollar in the minute in a little bit. Let's see if we take something out here at 171.50. Might as well take something out as it comes up to the upside. Pfizer, though, still not open. So long AMD, there's the out right there. Nice out for us. 171.30. The first time we're able to get that out, we take advantage of it. So let's see if we can get something else upside out. 171.50 is where we're waiting for that one. So far, so good here as AMD making them sing right now. Apple coming back up to the upside. We'll wait for a Tesla break of 250. That should.
Well, that's Tesla's going the other way
about that
in a flash. Like Tesla is still tanking. Looks like 246 is going to come to play. That was afternoon support. Did not get picked up on the way back in on NVIDIA. I'd swear I had. I guess obviously didn't have the breakout order set on that one. It is what it is. Meta's about to break 600, but I want to see if I can't get picked up on the bid of NVIDIA. Still nothing going on upside on Apple. We wanted to fade that one if there was a pop. And then the other thing we're looking at the open was Mara, allowing this one as it bounces higher, sort of allowing it to get into resistance. Don't want to just sit on the offer as it's absolutely flying to the upside. The market itself isn't doing a lot, but there are some strong moves heading to the upside, with Tesla the notable exception. Tesla's going to be right down into that support at 45. Wow, that's very, very quickly in here. Nasty opening for Tesla. Going to have to be patient within DJT making some power moves. That wasn't going to be on the radar. It's more getting into NVIDIA on the next available dip that I got to try.
Yeah, the market's coming back in a little bit here, so we do take some advantage of that AMD move up, but then now we don't have it. Well, we still have it, but the market's not here. The market has just lost VWAP a little bit there. It got up to 20,150. We don't want to get too carried away averaging into some of these names because, again, if it's a big hit at the end of the day, we'd rather take that when we have some key levels, not just going back and forth here with random stock. Okay, so we did get a little bit of a dip buy opportunity. I wish we had got a little more down there on AMD, but we didn't. So we're now long right here at 170.38. A little bit of a pull back upside now for advanced. There it goes. For advanced micro devices, take something out here into the 50s. And now we'll see if we can get going a little bit higher now on AMD. So there it goes. Yes, sir. All right, man. That was a great reload down there on advanced micro devices. So good move down, huge move up right now for AMD. Let's go, man. Maybe this name is the one here, Neil. AMD, there it is. Now we're really in the money here. Oh, it got up to 170.80. Let's take one more piece out just above this level here. If we can get back in the 8, there it is. Yes, sir. If we can get back upside, we'll take it. 170. 150 is what we're looking for, and we're into Pfizer right here at this level. I guess it's not open yet.
It's very strange what's going on. Pfizer does not look like it's open. I'm seeing a lot of, it's only D prints really. This is where I wanted it, holding the pre-market lows. NVIDIA is now gone at this point. Like it's at 127 on NVIDIA. So there was no dip buy for me to be able to get. But you did make a lit grab here on Pfizer. The plan was to play it off of the 250 period on the daily, which it's at. I'm going to jump on the bid here, give it to the local bottom. It's now shown the down move and giving you some kind of a support in here underneath the 10s. It's just a little bit strange that it's not open yet. I'm not seeing an opening print on this thing on Pfizer. I'm going to try and get on the bid here, but it's NVIDIA. That's the missed opportunity for me. Look at it now, 127, huge size on the offer at 127. It'll probably chew through that if it wants to. I'm going to try and grab the 126 on the way back in. We can forget about 125 at this point. You're now just way, way too far gone to chase it. Apple couldn't even break 225 and a half, let alone get to that 227 that we wanted to play the shorts off of. So we're just going to have to be very, very patient with Apple. And Mara, this is what happened when I tried to get short Mara on the way back in. Made that top, Friday's high, and already back underneath VWAP. So Mara looking weak on the pop and fade. NVIDIA still looking strong. Pfizer, kind of weird, but volume at least coming into it now.
Yeah, it's open now. Okay, so we're into Pfizer here. We bought some Tesla on that dip. I mean, we like the 250 dip, so why wouldn't we like that? Neil, it's another dollar right there. We just got to get upside a little bit more here on Tesla. We just didn't even have an order out. There it is. Yes, sir. Bang. It's a monster move right there for Pfizer. For Tesla. Nice move up, man. We're long at 246.67. It's $1.50 now. In the money goes Tesla. Straight up to the upside. Next stop, 250. All aboard. What about a 249? We might as well get something out up there if we could do that. I mean, we'd be silly not to take $3. Let's see if we can get a nice little move upside there. Come on, Tesla, break yourself. Even higher, we're at 248.60s or so for Tesla. So again, this will be $2 winner. We just need to get that little oomph back to the upside. And oh boy, are we ever going now, Neil? Look at AMD. This is a monster right here. We are almost 2 times daily gold, but we got to get out. Let's not do that. Let's see if we can hold. We're trying to make more money right now. So there goes AMD. We get a great fill up there at 171.20. That's a great one. $2 almost. We did not get that Tesla fill. It just bounced squarely off of VWAP. Boo on that one. And then, of course, you know that we're sitting here trading with shares, right? And so there it is right now on Pfizer. We'll see if we can get something out. We were just long down there at 27. It does go all the way up to 40s, and we didn't get anything out. So let's just keep on watching that right now. Tesla making the move higher, but then fading out a little bit. So far, so good, man. We just need some more outs on Pfizer. Oh, here we go, Neil. Pfizer is making that move up. Great trading here on PFE as we are really rocking with it right now. 3 for 3, man. Tesla, 80 cents. Pfizer, a dime piece. AMD, $1. We're rocking and rolling over here. Let's go over to Adara.
NFLX on watch here, moving pretty sharply to the downside right off the open with volume on a couple different analyst notes here. We have Barclays downgrading to underweight, but maintaining a $550 price target. Meanwhile, Piper Sandler upgrading to overweight, raising its price target to $800 from a previous target of $650. NFLX also on watch here ahead of its earnings next Thursday after the bell. Right now, though, down almost 3%. Keep an eye on NFLX. Strong volume off the open and a couple analyst notes, guys.
In a quick little second, there was no dip buy to be had on NVIDIA. So there's your 125.25. It broke 26s. It just took out that size at 27s on NVIDIA. Now up 2% on the day. Just got some out at the $0.50 as it continues to climb here. That's Sean's chart. NVIDIA up here. Breaking out. Go to my chart for a second, Fabian. Yeah, there we go. NVIDIA breaking out the 127 clean. It just took out the 127.5 zone, so now up a couple of points here. Going to look to hold in. If you pull up the 15-minute, this was a double resistance level on that daily chart. So you got some room to the upside. I think you can get to 130. The way that this is starting to look strong here. The Nasdaq's going. Pfizer volume did come in finally at the open. At least a little bit there.
Boy.
So it's trying to get into the pre-market highs. We're going to get some offers out in front of 29.50 and 29.60. Just a couple of longs, both working with the Nasdaq trying to go green. 128 in tow for NVIDIA.
Wow. Guys, this has been a great opportunity to trade again here today. I mean, we say this every day. It sounds like a broken record, but you know, when your levels are hit and they're hit and you just got to take them out and then watch to see what winds up happening. So we're going to take one more piece out here on Pfizer. I was waiting for 249s. We talked about, or sorry, for Tesla. But we're long down here at 246 and change. So we'll see if we can get this 248.50. It looks like we just bounced off of it again. We'll be lucky to get it, I think, at this level. We just took another fill on Pfizer. Pfizer's been an absolute monster trade. I mean, it's not going to be my P&L number one. Hopefully that is going to be Tesla if we could continue a little bit higher. But AMD is also a great trade here. Let's just take another piece out right now at 60. Okay, we just offer some 60s. We'll take it out. I'm getting a little nervous. We've already made our goals here today. We could stop right now, and it'd probably be a trophy day. But at the end of the day, we need to wait because I still feel that there's more upside here. The market trying to hold. Again, we're above the 50 period, above VWAP. Like we're getting out of our shares. There's no doubt about that. Like we have about 50% left of everything, maybe even a little bit more than that on Pfizer. But on Tesla, we're out of half right now, and we just missed that level right there. We're trying to get out of another piece upside there if it was able to get it. But right now, we'll just wait for that. But everything's going pretty good, man. There's Amazon just dripped down in. We like this level as well. We talked about this 181.50. I may get out of this and wait for 181 now on Amazon because that was really the level that we liked. But there it goes, man. It just comes right in. And we'll take something out now on Amazon. Why not? It's another 30-cent banger right there. It's a face slapper right there. So we just put this on and it's back in our pocket one more time, man. 4 for 4, Neil. Hopefully we can continue the good vibes over there. I know you've got some good ones as well there with NVIDIA and Mara.
Lamar we just got into. That's the only new position. It's NVIDIA and Pfizer. Pfizer just tagged the 50 level.
Baby.
We're able to grab that one. If it breaks the high of the day, we want to hold through the high. The new position, as you just mentioned, was going to be Mara, lower high being put in here with the markets trying to go. We got 55 short, looking to grab underneath VWAP. Give it to the local high. If it breaks, we're out. NVIDIA is on the pullback here. So it broke that 27. As long as we're above VWAP, I want to look to buy the dips in NVIDIA. It's up 1.7 as we speak, but 127.5 has been resistance here on NVDA. So we got 127.5, which just held. This is a 3-minute chart, but I know the top says 127.80. But last time it got up to this $0.50, I did see the offer come in, a bit of a thick offer in there, pulled it back into the 127. So we've reloaded at the even dollar 127 on NVIDIA as it continues to go to the upside. I mean, those are the names that we're watching here. I see David Kyle saying Palantir is hurting. We'll check that one out, but you know, right now I want to play off of this 27 to see if this can hold on NVIDIA. It's Apple that we didn't get a chance to trade in here. Not really doing anything, so I guess we got to be patient with Apple. I thought this was going to be a nice pop and fade, but there hasn't been much of a pop in Apple. Adara?
That penny stock runner on watch here, Algorithm, RIME. This one trading around 70 cents right now, getting a nice, making a bit of a bottom and curling off the open with pretty strong volume. One of their subsidiaries, Semicab, has basically signed a contract here with this unnamed company worth $200 billion, not the contract, but the company. Some details here in RIME. They do have a float of about 4.3 million shares, a total market cap of $4.5 million here, RIME on watch, guys.
All right. AMD's coming back in, man. We will get out of this one. You know, you make the money, then you just don't want to give it all back. So here comes AMD. Nice move down for sure. As the market just cracked lower, right? I mean, you could sit in these longs all day, but at some point, you got to address them. And right now, Pfizer's still really working out well. That's going to be a good one. Amazon's dropping in. We did talk about, and we already took 30 cents on that one real quick. That was like kind of a surprise play, in my opinion there. Was not really expecting it to get going that quickly, but it does anyways. There goes Amazon. AMD just kind of saved us back up to 75 there. Let's take something. Okay, there it goes. We'll take something out now and just sort of wave the white towel a little bit, get out of for flat as we've averaged back in there against 169. So yeah, just trading the P&L here a little bit as the market's falling back in and we're watching some of these profits go away. So we know that we have to address some of these positions so we don't get too sloppy. Tesla, we missed that top again. Like we were waiting here at 248.50, we just missed it, and now it's falling back in. So Tesla not creating nice names here for itself into the futures as we continue to make moves lower here on the Nasdaq. Tesla also making moves. So Tesla's actually down almost triple what the market's down right now. So relative strength is not in this name. Looks like we did a good job getting out of some AMD there.
Yeah, similar story here as VWAP just bounced on NVIDIA. If I mix the two up, I'm in NVIDIA, I'm not in AMD. I've already done that twice this morning. No, if you can't get past this 127 a second time here, we're able to get some out on the last bounce, out in front of the 3/4 mark, but the bounces off VWAP need to carry through 127, or you could be filling in this gap. Like VWAP's holding for now, you're getting the higher high, the higher low, I should say, but not a lot of strength on this secondary push. I'm offering on the north side of the 27 after the reload. Mara just looked like it was heading back in there. Yeah, okay, weird wick there. So Mara did this failed break of the high, got more short, came back into VWAP. I was able to get the fill, but now you're bouncing again. All right, there we go. AMD did hit. Okay, I didn't think we'd hit this level on AMD because that's that prior high that was a breakout late in the day at 169. That just came into play on NVIDIA, so quick little pivot there. I almost forgot that I had the bid at that previous high. But yeah, we just bounced off of that 169 level on advanced micro devices. I just quickly hit offer enter at the 50s to see if I can get some out. Adara again.
Name here pushing to the upside. SRRK up almost 300%. Scholar Rock announcing here that they have some positive top-line results that met their primary endpoint for their study of their spinal muscular atrophy treatment. Worth noting here, larger market cap. I'm seeing 2.1 billion as of this morning, so still a small cap, but slightly larger one. They also do have a short float of 25.4%, so pretty hefty short float for SRRK, guys.
Me back in a little bit here as we go. So you got to be careful with what we're doing, but still, the only name that's still staying upside right now is Pfizer. So we're pretty happy with the way that one's trading for sure, PFE, but we're going to get out. There's that 29.60 level. We basically have the bottom there. We have 16s, and we can get something out here at 60s. We should probably take advantage of that and do that. AMD, nice bounce there. We were able to buy some of that dip. So let's just get some more out here. Our average price is 53s, but again, hopefully we can get a move up. If it goes, it goes. If it doesn't, we've got our plan of action for that breaking through 169. So here comes Amazon. We should have been more patient with this name. We actually did talk about Amazon and the fact that we could get a 180 fill. So we just take a little bit more downside right now, but something's taking off. Oh my God, it's AMD right now. There it goes, man. That face slapper right there. This is what it means, man. You take shares when you're confident in a position, and there it goes, man. It's AMD. It's a nice one, making that move back up, man. So goes Pfizer, so goes everything, Neil. Looks like we might get a nice little bounce here.
Oh, we're getting a nice bounce for sure. Second bounce off VWAP on NVIDIA. We're able to get the 50s in there. It's trying to take that 27 once again, but AMD goes right in, fills the gap into that. It's not really a gap. I mean, the full gap would be down to 65, but it was at 169 level. It needs to get up to VWAP. It's still making lower highs and lower lows here, which does tell me I should be getting VWAP when something is trending in this way. So if it bounces back again over the 170,
boosh.
I'm just going to take it there. So
let's go.
One entry. We just grabbed 69 into 70s. NVIDIA's trying to bounce as well. I like the higher low story here. If we lose VWAP, I'm going to jump out of this though. Like you should be a little bit stronger than this. I mean, it's already up 1% when the market's flat, and it's starting to lose into VWAP in here. If the chips go down, I haven't mentioned Intel because I thought this was not going to be much of a short opportunity, but when it's inside like this, if the chips go down, it's giving you a nice little over-under at the previous close price. In the back of my mind, I do want to short that one. I'm out of AMD on that bounce. If it can't hold VWAP on NVIDIA, I want to jump out of this one as well. It's trying its best to hold. Relatively strong, but that's not strong enough as far as I'm concerned. I want to see us back through that 27 in the next few minutes, or not start get aggressive taking some more out.
Yeah, man. Again, we'll put I mean, right now, P&L number one will be AMD. I mean, we were able to sit there and buy that dip as well. So that's going to be a good dip buy opportunity for us on AMD. They're long now, 169.37. I mean, if this market goes, wowee, we should have a nice little move to the upside there. So there goes Tesla, man. Fail on that one. It takes out 246. So we did not average back into this name. We only took it again at 246.50. So we'll lose 50 cents on the last piece there of TSLA, as it's looking like it just wants to continue its downside push, but maybe we just bounced again there off 246. We have like much bigger fish to fry right now, including almost $1 right now on AMD, including 50 cents on Pfizer, including now 30 cents trying to battle this back there on Amazon. Let's see if we get a higher take rate there, but it looks like we might have just topped out near the bottom of Tesla. We'll see though. I don't know, but it's weaker. I don't really want to fight it. We've already got sort of the cat by the tail here or whatever, because AMD, I feel like we got a great little position here. If we can get something out, let's just get another piece out at 170.50, and then we'll see about, I don't want to have too many bid offers out, then we'll see about getting this piece out and then letting the rest ride. We knew that if we could get something down here and the market could go, this could be a very, very decent trading opportunity for us today. So that's what it is. It's AMD. It's Amazon's trying to battle back as well. We have a decent price there. The low for Amazon today is 180.80. We're long right here right now, 181.35, 32. So hopefully we get a nice little bounce back here as well. Maybe you look at Palantir. Pfizer, still a nice play as well. Actually, Pfizer's my P&L number one. What am I talking about?
Yeah, Pfizer is now at the high of the day here. So pre-market highs, I should say, at like 69. That's just a bad wick. It's actually at 68. If we break out the top, I think 30 is resistance. We'd mentioned that on the daily chart. So there's your $30 level. You break out this high. I want to look for places to add on some higher lows, but you're just going to get to 30. That's going to be an out for me. NVIDIA, we're going to go to Adara in a quick little second. But NVIDIA just tapped 127 again and right back into VWAP. So need it over that 127. I took another leg out there. We're just going to play along this trend as long as it wants to hold and go to the desk with Adara.
Great look for Canadian Solar off the open. CSIQ making new high of days as we speak. Right now up about 13% and looking to make its largest volume candle of the day on that 3-minute chart. No news that I could see. They did provide an update apparently saying that they've exceeded their power generation target for September 2024, so that could be what's moving this. But it's also worth noting we've got about a 17.3% short float, market cap of just over $1 billion for CSIQ.
Whoa, CSIQ. Okay, we like that name there. Also, another Canadian name, of course, Michael Noss brought our attention to, which was CNQ.
CNQ.
So not to mistake those two names. Coming through. Pfizer continues to go higher, man. I mean, I just keep on taking it out. We just tweeted it out. It is going to be just a huge trade there, Pfizer, today on the Starboard News. You always want to trade stuff that has sort of that activist look to it, I think anyways. Those trades have been really, really successful for Starbucks, for Nike. So let's see if Pfizer is a possible 2- and 3-day play there at least on PFE. So we're out of Tesla, and it looks like, I still want to get longer here into Amazon. I just have to figure out what levels that we're talking about now for AMZN, because we just keep on bouncing off of, I still like 180, and I don't want to get caught too long, too early. That can be a problem sometimes, and it gets down to 180, and then I kind of tap out because I'm like, oh my God, I'm wrong, and then we're not wrong. All right, we'll take something a little bit more down here into the 80s if we're able to get it. But shares of Tesla continue to pull back. We talked about maybe a sell the event situation on Robotaxi. I mean, I'd sort of said that last week, and it wasn't even tongue in cheek. I'm like, well, what could really spark this event? And it's just like, I really like the technology. I think it's going to change everything. I'm excited for the stock. I think it's a long, but it's just like right now heading into that event. I mean, maybe, like I was saying, maybe a cool app, maybe something like that could get people excited again. But for now, it seems like it's a sell right now, even though the market's starting to go a little bit more aggressive to the downside. So be careful with a lot of these longs that you may have on here. AMD is the one that's slipping up, but we've already cashed out. So AMD right now, we have about 20% left. We talked about that, trying to hold something for this and then even higher, but it looks like right now it wants to give it up. Let's see what Adara's up to.
DJT making new high of days here. This is Trump Media and Technology Group. No news specific to this one that I'm seeing, but it could be running in sympathy with Donald Trump's rally here on Saturday, which did feature an appearance from Tesla CEO there, Elon Musk. We have the presidential election in which the major shareholder of this company and its namesake, Donald Trump, is a candidate. That's going to be on November 5th. So less than a month away, this U.S. presidential election, as DJT is now up 10% on the day, guys.
I guess it might have something to do with it. I don't know.
You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and pay for. I always do this because they're relatively cheap here. But like as DJT starts to go, I'm going to pay for locates. It's never going to be. It's usually not free for us. But if it does something absolutely insane, then I want to have the ability to fade it. I'm not saying I'm going short DJT, but it also allows you to put offers out when you want to take profits and have your stop order in there. Just a little more flexibility for DJT. I'm going to go ahead and pay for those locates. But we've lost the bid here on NVIDIA. So the last bounce, there was a wall of shares at 127. Now, usually I wouldn't care about that, except for the fact that the market was weak. So we lost VWAP. We bounced a couple of times. We're able to get 80s a couple of times, and we're able to get 127s, and then we just stopped out. Just trying to stay green on this thing as it flushes. But we do have overnight support and 20,000 in play on the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ's not doing much. It's just individual names that are going. The one short is just Mara, which is underneath. It's now underneath VWAP. That's where we've been taking out. I want to get to 1660s on the way back up here as the market is starting to bleed. In the back of my mind, it's like it should have been predictable that there'd be some sellers that would all of a sudden emerge after Elon is excited at the rally. But you're at the 245 now, so that was a double barrel support. This is the level on Tesla to try that long trade. So looking for the buyers are starting to come in here on the bid. Give it to the low.
I buy.
It just wicked 244.80, so the local bottom 244.80 is my out.
All right, so AMD's back and forth there. It actually just did come out, but then it stopped completely at 169. So we're going to try to give it 10 cents. I'm surprised we got stuffed out immediately there at 169. But if it drops back in there, now we're going to get out again. There it is. So there you go. We'll swap a fail on the last piece there. Like Neil said, we'll stay green on the name, but AMD definitely falling down there through 169. The market could be finding a base now. I think that's a possibility. It's just AMD. We're down. I think if anything, the right thing to do right now would be to maybe look over at the futures and think about taking something in and around here on the TQQs, maybe using that low of day as a bottom. We still are in Amazon. I mean, we could, all right, let's try. Okay, nice little dip down right now in the futures. All right, so we'll see here. I mean, I'm trying to go to 20,000 here. We want to play a little bit of a dip buy, so we'll start with like 1 or 2 contracts basically right down here now on the futures. We'll average in a little bit if we get into that day's low there. But I think if we break near 70.50 right now on the TQs, that bottom, then we can get out and then wait for 20,000 exactly. Let's see if we want to hold this pre-market bottom at 70.50 right there. That would be, basic. Well, here we go. Now we're in the money on this. So nice hold so far there on the TQQs. Here we go. We'll take 20 cents as fast as you can get it right there. That's a nice move right there on the futures. So we just take basically, I don't know what that was there, about 20 handles or so back there to the upside. AMD bouncing as well. But so far so good, man. We go back to where the bread is buttered and get right back there into the futures. And now you can see that's making that move higher. Let's see if we can hold near that 70.50 area on the TQQs. We'll see.
Yeah, and bouncing right back to 246 is Tesla. Will ring register there, but I kind of feel like, look, we're still trend down on this thing. So you lost 250, and 250 at the open on Tesla. Like, look at that. It's just every single time this fails at 250 level, the sellers just start to emerge. Probably shouldn't have only been looking for the longs above it. Obviously, when we have a key price level, you pick a direction. If it breaks it, we could have been long. But now that you're lower highs the whole way through, I'm looking VWAP in here. If we get a VWAP retrace, and I want to be on the south side of 247 up here. So I'm going to put the offer in. Want to be ready if we do get it. After the bid got lost in NVIDIA, in the next place to look, it broke out at 125.25. So here's it starting to come back in. 125.25. I want to see some actual strength down there. Don't want to just catch a falling knife. You're about to get 10 o'clock where we get the opening range settled down. So a good time to be able to put in some support. Only have one short, and that's just been Mara. I mean, Bitcoin's not doing a heck of a lot, but it's not breaking 64,000. That was my whole thing. If it breaks 64,000, I don't want to be short that. So NVIDIA coming back into the breakout price, probably the next available trade. I think that's what's going to be the next available trade. Pfizer has busted through the top.
Great.
30 even. is, I think, I expect there to be some resistance. Every time Pfizer seems to get to 30 bucks, there's a seller there. So Tesla want VWAP. NVIDIA going to patiently look for a bounce play, not just jump on the bid. Don't want to start taking losers here. I think you want that 10 o'clock to hit. Look for some reloads after the other side of 10 a.m. or 10 a.m. So just Tesla, Pfizer still we're long and looking for the opportunity, hopefully for a re-entry on NVIDIA. But if it doesn't hold that breakout price, I don't have to jump in.
Yeah, we're starting just to nibble a little bit with Amazon down here again, giving us an average price right now of 18.14, 180.14. So I still want to get some 50s back in here for this play, see if we're able to do that right now on Amazon. So that would be sort of the next look there. We did get out of AMD. AMD is back above. I understand that 169 is pretty good right there. We've sort of set our sights right now, I guess, I don't know, on trading the TQQs here against that bottom area. So maybe we do get a little bit of a dip buy opportunity here for that on the TQQs into 50. So we will reload that trade just in case you guys were wondering what I was up to on that one. 70.70 right now, just looking for that move. Right, maybe we get it, maybe we don't, but breaking through 70.50, we'll buy some more at 70.60 and try to give this a little bit of room back in that area. So, all right, so that's what we're doing right now, waiting for AMD, waiting for Amazon, and waiting for the futures that we just tapped out some more there of Pfizer. Pfizer's going to be my P&L number one after today. So far, so good there for Pfizer. I think higher, but starting to get more and more out. We only have about 25% left of PFE. All right, Adara, what's up?
Both the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 slightly red on the day to kick off this week of October here. We do have the S&P 500 having made two pretty sharply red candles so far on the 15-minute chart to start the day, though it looks like we might be getting a bit of green coming into this chart. In terms of economic data, very little to digest today. We will get, however, consumer credit change coming through at 3 p.m. It's worth noting, though, 4 Fed speakers today starting at 1 p.m. Fed's Bowman, Fed's Kashkari, and then after close, Fed's Bostic and Fed's Musalem. Also worth noting here in terms of what's going on in the overall market, the fact that we did have that much stronger than expected jobs report on Friday, which has led to some reevaluation of these rate cuts. Initially, some people expecting potentially a 50 basis point cut during the November meeting. That has basically been lowered. Now we're looking for a 25% or 25 basis point cut in November, with some people actually thinking it could be even less than that. So interesting notes here with regards to rates. In terms of stocks on watch, we have Apple, AAPL getting a hold rating here from Jefferies with a $212.92 price target here. Some iPhone production and delivery concerns there. We also had a bit of a mixed note from Mizuho coming through for AAPL. Next up, Hims and Hers Health, HIMS. This one breaking to new high of days, up almost 12%. Announced that it's going to be joining the small cap 600 here, the S&P small cap 600, effective Wednesday's opening bell. So HIMS strong today. Last but not least, BABA, Alibaba, and a lot of these other Chinese ADRs continuing to be strong over the last few weeks with that stimulus influx there and that announcement from China coming a few weeks ago. Alibaba also getting an upgrade here from Macquarie. So a couple notes for this one and for this space in general, guys.
Baba, you know what's interesting? I mean, obviously, the Chinese ADRs have been big movers in there. We got other fish to fry, but it is interesting to see what's going on. NEO, I mentioned NEO at $7. It's at $6.90. Liquidity grab underneath. It bounces again off $6.66. It's just where it happens to be bouncing. That's like the third time in the last week I've seen it bounce off that level. But a 7 break still available for NEO if you are trading those. It's hilarious to me that level. Whatever, 420, random things like that seem to happen in this market, but another bounce there for NIO. Still looking for VWAP on Tesla. You're on the bounce off the 245. Now you're starting to come back a little bit stronger. I still feel like it's a bit of a downward trend. So I want to get out of this way, the same as AMD bounced, gave you VWAP and continued downtrend. I'm thinking the same thing in here for Tesla. As a matter of fact, already starting to curl a little bit. I'm going to take it and run. Right here. I just looked at this trend. I'm eyeballing it a little bit, but that is, I'm going to guess, trend line right in here that it's trying to hold on to. So if it wicks it, that's back underneath, kind of a dirty trend line. Didn't really connect that very well, but I'm not going to play the strength there. I feel like I should be in NVIDIA more so than Tesla, and Tesla needs to put in consecutive higher lows before that. So I'm going to stay perfect on the day here. Just jump out of Tesla. Don't want to fight any trends.
All right, so yeah, good job staying perfect there today. We are at the I don't know if you're at the highest spot all day, but must be if you're perfect. We're at the highest spot we've been at all day right now. Look at Amazon. Amazon just absolutely took off. So I want to say thank you to everybody there in the chat. I was looking over my notes over the weekend and stuff like that. Well, not even looking over them, just thinking about some of the ways that I was trading. And it's like, if you're going to believe in something, you know, you kind of have to stay with it. And this is exactly what we did on Amazon. We've just sort of never sold this stock. We liked the 180. We had to withstand basically just market friction back and forth there. And then now that we have the long, I feel like it's going to be a good one. And by the way, we stick also with our guts right there and put on another big trade with the futures. Not only that, we reloaded it. So right down here, we are now long at about 20,105 or so. It's at 20,135. So it's about a 30 handle winner right now on the futures, and we've got it reloaded. So that's nice. And then there you go, man. Out 3 times there at VWAP. Let's see if we can get a little bit higher. 71.20. I mean, this would be a really sweet trade, man. If we could take about 60 handles on this move, right back up into the day's high. If we can get the day's low and the day's high there on the futures, then you know that that's been a pretty good day. So we'll continue to watch out for that. Amazon continues its march higher as well. Pfizer, I mean, we almost out of that, so I don't want to go like worry too much about what's going on with this Pfizer trade. I still like the stock, I still like the trade right now, but maybe we'll get another piece out as it's kind of whipping itself around here. Give me those 73s if we're lucky enough to get those. We shall take them right now. 73s there on Pfizer, last little step out, and then the TQs. I mean, we already sort of talked about it. Again, like the stock. Don't love what it's doing right now. Would rather it be taking those tops, but we are starting to get out. So that's part of the trade too, is don't just sit in something all day. Make sure you do have your outs. And when it gets hit, and this is why I like to trade P&L. It's like when I can see like what exactly is happening right now to my P&L, then I know, okay, we're getting an extended move, right? Like I've just made XYZ on it. So although the stock could continue to go up, sometimes it's like if you let them just simmer, that's great, but you got to take it out when you have that kind of a move. Like that's what sort of dressed me with Amazon. I wasn't even really looking at it, and then all of a sudden it popped huge. So able to get there, especially when you're trading multiple symbols, have the ideas of what you want to do, and then just go for it. It's a big day over here. Pfizer, we did get that 73, so there's an out. And the TQQs just hit set 20s. You know where we're at, guys? We're at 23s. So we just missed that a little bit. So now let's go into like the teens, get that piece out in case that was the high. We nailed it, but we were 3 cents off. Here comes the market back in a little bit.
Yeah, the market coming back in. I just slapped a trail out on Pfizer, just observing that it's attempting to break down this trend here. Nice little upward trend, obviously up 4%, but you just wicked underneath the trend line, so if it breaks support after that. If I was flat and looking short, that would be a short entry to VWAP. So to me, that ends up being a trail out in this particular case. We'll see if we're able to get that fill. We're not back into NVIDIA just yet, but it did just retake, or at least attempt to retake VWAP. Now you've got a little, like we got the pullback on NVIDIA here. It did kind of wick out that breakout price and putting in the higher low. I want to see it hold either this trend line or retest that bottom for a long trade. So there's still some time here for to hold on to trend, hold on to VWAP. But if we do retest the low, it's the 125.25 that we're going to be concerned with. Mara did eventually bounce off that low, but lower highs back into VWAP. So check that Friday's high, short back in. Lower highs now at VWAP. If it bounces off the close again, the previous close again, I'll probably just jump out of it. We're trying to hold on to the Mara short. One of the few things that's looking relatively weak in here that we had a short idea for, at least. I mean, some other things are trending to the downside, but didn't have short ideas on any of them. Speaking of which, I said if we held underneath VWAP, I would take a shot at Intel short. Well, the market's coming back up and Intel's going up. So not going to. That's higher highs, higher lows. If it gets to 23 even, that's generally been the level for Intel. So not going to fade that one, only if it had held underneath VWAP. I do see Pfizer has trailed out. Again, just observing the trend, break of trend, VWAP re-entries or 29-quarter re-entries on Pfizer. I want to stay bullish on this, but I have to let it make a new base of operations for the long trade. So now we're just in MARA. To the south side is the market. It's an inside day. You know, the Nasdaq's not really. It's not breaking out the top. You had kind of like a little bit of a wick above the highs, going into overnight resistance, I suppose. No real test to 20,000 or the lows. So you want to wait patiently for your key price levels on individual stocks.
Yeah, and exactly. I mean, that's exactly what I think we have to continue to do every day. And I think that's the one thing that's, as I said, made a big, huge difference for me. Is that have your direction and have your price, and then try to hold on. Basically, not for dear life, but try to hold on if you can. I just want to readdress Tesla here because we had $1 plus in the money here. And remember, we couldn't get out at VWAP. Well, we could have, but we didn't get out there at VWAP. We should have do that. But again, that's a good short, I feel like. Anything back up to VWAP. We just got to 247 there and stopped. So that's, again, another spot possibly there for Tesla on reloads into the short. We are long the NASDAQ, but you guys just saw me take that piece out there. We actually got that. Remember, I told you we were at 23. We went to 13 and got it. So now we can reload again. I mean, this is just, we're pretty light on this stock as of right now. We have about 30% left. We will take more, but it's going to have to be a little bit lower. Let's see if we can get into the low. And then that's where we'll see about putting something else on. Amazon did go for a dip there a little bit. I wasn't at my reload spot. I actually thought we got 50s. We didn't. So our 50 is still waiting there. So, okay, it's a good thing we put something out there at 65 the last time, but I didn't do it again. So let's let it settle down. Maybe we do get a nice little bump here in Amazon back to the upside. We just absorbed that play. Let's look for something else. I almost went long Meta. Thing is that it's like I need a different kind of a vehicle to take Meta here. And what I mean by that is like it's so expensive that you could just use less shares. And I've always talked about like not really worrying about the price of the stock, especially when you're on a prop floor, because the amount of money that I can throw at these names is ridiculous. So it's not that. It's just, for me, it's kind of the spread. Like when it starts to open up, the way I trade is I'll stop out when certain levels are broken, right, or breached. Well, this already has a 40-cent spread. So I'm going to let it settle down. And what I was going to take was this 495. And look, like it wicked down to 494 and then stopped. It broke, 594. It broke 594, but went to 78. So I wonder if like I would have got stopped out there, I'm thinking. If I would have had that trade and I gave myself $1, we probably would have got stopped out on that break. And then you'd be like, oh man, like look at it now. So I'm going to go back to Meta either once it gets back up over to 600. I mean, it already broke 600 today right off the open. So that's kind of why I want to look at it on some weakness. But again, just pretty weak off of that level. Let's let Meta settle down end of the day, and hopefully we'll be able to catch something there. We did get something out on Pfizer at 65 there. It's back up to 70, so we can wait on that. Amazon's now back into the money. I'm going to take a piece out at 50. I'm pretty sure I have an offer there, which I do not, so I'm going to put one right there, the 50-period moving average, 181.50. So let's just do that. Let's go to 40s or so. Let's put out a little bit more shares. So right now, we'll put out about 20% of our position here at 181.50, right? We could see we're near the high of the day for ourselves. We're really happy, obviously, with the way we've traded today. One mistake, and it wasn't a mistake, but AMD, that last reload, still up on the stock, but that's there. And then we are going to be down on Tesla because of that last break. But this is, again, it's a cup of coffee, but just to be honest with that. So Pfizer's a big one. Yeah, go ahead. You got one?
64,000's incoming
Bitcoin,
on
yeah.
Bitcoin here. So it was weird because I kind of wasn't paying enough attention to Bitcoin because Mara was underneath VWAP, but there's BTC up here, 63,860. If we break out that top, I mean, you're already going on Coinbase, you're already going on, like this is MSTR. This is MSTR, which doesn't even, it's up 7% and doesn't even have a red candle, so to speak, on the 15 minutes. So super strong move in everything except for Mara. The good news is, if we hold 64,000, this is probably an even better short, but if we break 64,000, I might just punch out where we lie if we're breaking upside. I'm certainly not going to reload anything if we're breaking that 64 level. I said if we're above that, I don't want to be fighting shorts, but I like the relative weakness, at least for now. But got to keep an eye on that to be sure. NVIDIA is still battling. There was no VWAP hold on NVIDIA. But I'd like to reload this. It was a breakout trade and then a dip into VWAP, and it lost VWAP, and it still got lower highs going. Want to see it establish some higher lows or just hold on to VWAP, or I have to wait for this 125 quarter to come in. So just going to be patience there. The Tesla is holding some higher lows on its own after bouncing off 245, so it's starting to look better. It's trying to break back out above trend, but I don't want to jump in too early on that name either. And then a lot of people, of course, DJT. I paid for the locates. $21 is the big level on DJT. There it is. That's 21. The 50 period probably doesn't matter. But if we break 20 even, I'm going to start looking for a fade play. Up 16% on DJT. But that 21 is going to look like a fade to me, at least. So NVIDIA's, I think, the next play in here, if it can hold on to VWAP. Give me some higher lows to play off of and a long off VWAP. Or we're just still waiting for that 125.25.
Oh boy. Yeah, make sure you join Lessons on Trading, our trading session there for the midday today. Average true range. We'll be talking all about that. Joe and Sharif coming through right here. But if you want the banger trades, they'll have some too. But look at this Amazon. We just got out exactly where we said we would down here. 181.35s. We were waiting at 40s. There's 40s right there. I just canceled it and put out a 35. So there it is, man. Get your 40s while they're hot right there. There it is. Congratulations, anybody that has those. Diamond hand. So we're sitting in 3 positions right now, man. 60 cents in the money on Amazon, 50 cents in the money on Pfizer, 50 cents in the money on the NASDAQ, as there goes the NASDAQ back up to day's high as well. Oh boy, man, this has been a monster here today, honestly. Let's go. Look at Amazon, my guy. There, that name's going higher and higher and higher right there as well. Wow. Combined right now, $1.80 in the money on these 3 positions, and they're not like they're huge values, man. Like Pfizer is a $29 stock. The NASDAQ right here, 70. Let's go, man. There it is. We have the bottom of the day on the NASDAQ. Let's see if we can take out this high. Look at this market run. Oh boy, we have a good trade on right now, especially with this AMZN. But it's just bouncing off 181.50. I'm going to put an offer right here. Let's just take another piece out. Like I said, it's been a big day so far. We are now at, I mean, we're at about 1 times our day. We did have more in there. We did talk about that. And then everything fell out. Those were unrealized. And part of it was AMD. We were really cruising with AMD here until eventually we had a good amount of shares here at 169. And then eventually it fell back in. So we'll wind up giving back like our unrealized gain there. We're still up on AMD, but we were up a lot more than what we're up now on it, obviously. So we'll take another piece on AMD if and when. I feel like it needs to break 170, 169 and change. But with this market really rocking here, that could have been an out right there again. Every time we come up, I mean, the market just like the fact that we're able to do this on the futures today puts me pretty confident about some of the reads. So maybe we should get a piece out then the next time we're up here. 201.50. That's just bouncing again. Yeah, we can wait for that little wick. Let's get a little greedy. 201.57. So that would equate roughly around 71.30 or so here on the TQ. So let's put another offer out there. And then, hey, look, we'll be fine here. We will take on this trade about 50, 60 handles or so. So, I mean, if you're looking for that, then here it is right now on the TQQs. So nice upside move. Everything's still rocking, man. Pfizer at highs. Here comes the NASDAQ right now. So remember where we're long down here, about 20,100. We just take it out now at 20,050. So a 60 handle winner right there for you on the futures. As Neil, everything is bumping right now, man. It is the NASDAQ. It is Amazon starting to go higher as well. So far so good there. I know you just got the one short.
Yeah, and you know what? It's still not bumping. You're holding green on Mara. You're still under 60. You're about to break 64,000. That's the only thing that has me not adding underneath view up here. But it's about to break the low, or at least test the low of the day. If we bounce this time, I think it's going to be time to get that out. NVIDIA is still trying to, show me that strength over VWAP. You're getting the curl. You've now broken the downtrend at least, so we can resume to the upside. VWAP holding out pretty nicely. Still want to see some confirmation, like close above VWAP, give me the consolidation over to try to get the entry right here. Don't just want to jump in to have to jump back out or try to hold it $1 into the support level on NVDA. I was watching Tesla as well to see if that was setting up a re-entry. It did get to VWAP. You've now got a nice higher low. I feel like the trend initially to the downside is broken on Tesla right in here. So holding out that higher low does give you at least a little something to work off of that 246. Neil's nothing. And Alibaba, we said there might be a bit of a gap fill. Well, it's starting to fill in the entirety of the gap. 115. It's about halfway to get to that 115 level. So a little bit of patience here for Alibaba, as it's about $1 away from closing into that 115 level for dip buy support. Yeah, there's the bounce coming on Mara. I'm going to jump out there. We're going to head to Adara and take care of some business.
This part of the show is brought to you by Trade the Pool. Trade the Pool allows traders like you to get evaluated and trade real shares using the company's capital. No PDT rule holding you back. That's how they give a true trading edge. Here's the exciting part. Trade the Pool just launched a limited edition program to evaluate stock traders like you. For a one-time fee of just $97, you'll receive $20,000 in buying power, and all you have to do is reach the profit goal. The best part of this limited edition program is that they have reduced the profit goal and the minimum trades required to reach the funding phase. And the profit split has been upgraded, so you keep 70% of the profits. You should definitely want to check it out. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description for more information.
Go check that out. I mean, right here, we'll spend a little bit of money or some awesome as well. Right there, because there it goes right now. I mean, these futures are now really starting to go, man. This is almost 30, 40, 50. We're already 30, 40, 50 handles in the money as we continue to go higher right now, 70, 80 handles and higher. We did take a piece out on Pfizer. We sort of talked about where we like that level up here in this mid 70s. That's where it's been at all day. We were lucky enough to get that dip buy. We initially wanted that 29.60 break, but it happened, obviously. But we were able to get lower. So once that fell into the 200 period, we were sort of battling that. It's like, was it open? Was it not open? Our first fill was before the market was open, and then right when it did open, we were able to take advantage of that and then buy those dips in there on that name. So we really, really are liking Pfizer right there today. Tesla probably was a buy down there at 245. Really liked the stock, really liked the name, but again, just couldn't find my way into it because it was so red coming in that we wanted something else. And that's where we just went over here and we were just like, and you heard me say that. I completely switched up my whole attitude on what we were trading there today. And we flipped over into the futures. Right? I said, okay, forget about trying to fight these names. Let's just go and do what we do best, man, and trade these futures. So that's exactly what we wound up doing there. And it was a very, very profitable venture making that switch. So there goes the futures right there to the upside. Now, like we said, man, 20,100 in the money there, about 60, 70 handles. So yeah, man, we're pretty happy with being able to make that move over into the futures and take it, as well as sticking with our guns here on Amazon, which right now, Amazon, 70 cents in the money on a decent position. So yeah, man, there goes AMZN to the upside. Big day alert happening on the desk. Neil's great day. We're having a good day. Everybody hopefully is having a good one. And if you are, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and your day's about to get better because we've got a Dara at the big desk with some kind of a segment.
Small cap. I should have.
IWM here slightly more negative on the day than you have either the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. We do have a bit of a move down here right now on this 3-minute chart, but nice bounce from the lows here around 217.40. So let's see how the Russell 2000 fares from here on out. So many runners to talk about, much like what we saw last week and the last few weeks as well. SERV chief among them here. Serve Robotics up about 20%. This name not having any news catalyst today, but it did get a $4 million investment from NVIDIA back to about July. So SERV, NVIDIA is involved in this name, and they have about a 13% short float. Next up here, we have Scholar Rock, SRRK. This name up over 300% right now, announcing some positive top-line results from its study of its spinal muscular atrophy treatment. Another pretty heavy short float name here. This one about 25%. Last but not least, we do have Arcadium Lithium here, ALTM. A lot of other lithium names here on watch as well, including LAC, Lithium Americas Corp. A lot of these names higher, but this catalyst is specific here to ALTM getting approached here by Rio Tinto for a non-binding acquisition. So ALTM on watch here. They also do have a decent short float around 7%, guys.
Boy,
we like those short floats.
If you add deal speculation to short float, you usually get some very, very nervous short sellers. That could be worth watching. I think that's why you see a lot of strength. Maybe let it form some kind of a base there. So NVIDIA it was just a bit of a pullback on the NASDAQ. Here, let's see this, where we wick the highs and pull back underneath it. Kind of felt like that's the kind of move that gets you back into VWAP, which would put me back on trend in NVIDIA. I did get out of Mara. It just wouldn't break the lows. And remember I said if NASDAQ, or if Bitcoin took 64,000, we got to get out of this trade. So it worked to the short side, but there's Bitcoin that is definitely broken out to 64,000. So we're now at 64 and a third. If it continues all the way to 65 and Mara hasn't taken out the high, I still think that stock should be a short. It's relatively weak. It's at VWAP when everything else is breaking highs. I mean, MSTR is like 8% to the upside and Coinbase is flying. So I think Mara it feels like it should be a short again, but I'll let it get to the high, and then if you're turning around in BTC at that point, I can work a short off of the high of the day. So we already tried it once, and it worked out. But with BTC breaking out, I don't think it's something that I want to fight. It's NVIDIA which wants this 27 again. I thought we'd consolidate off of VWAP. It's just a little bit higher. I'm not completely convinced that I want to pull the trigger on this until you get some kind of a dip. Either resistance at the 127 when we're bouncing off VWAP before, well, that's where it's resisting again. And if that's the case, I don't want to pull the trigger long right into 27 when I don't think I'm wrong about the long until you get down into 125 half. It's just not a very good risk to reward to try to risk $1.30 at this time of the day on NVIDIA. Need to find an entry that's a little bit tighter than that, which might be a bit of a VWAP retrace, if we can even get it at this point on NVIDIA. AMD's not really setting up here. DJT for everybody out there. I am waiting for $21 for any kind of a short opportunity. It's just consolidating at 19. If it does break out the top, congratulations to everybody. No one ever went broke taking profit. I doubt I trade it except for some kind of a 27 or 21 reversal play for myself.
I saw that you paid for some shorts there on Save, and some people are in the chat are talking about it.
You know what?
Yeah, did you have any levels you wanted to go over? Because I didn't look at the...
I'm an idiot. I don't want to...
Whatever.
So I did say that I would short Save every single day with a very simple setup, right? Like after you announce that you want to go bankrupt, generally speaking, it's whatever the previous high is, or if it gaps down to previous close or like a previous support level turns into resistance. So the reason I'm saying I'm an idiot is because I did pay for locates on Save and got wrapped up trading AMD, Mara, NVIDIA, Pfizer, and Tesla. So there hasn't been a lack of symbols. But this went right into the high and then reversed. So I think that's the only trade that's available this morning, and it already happened back into VWAP. So I'm not touching this with a 10-foot pull unless it's a short at the same level or maybe a gap fill, which, I mean, $2 is a nice round number, but the gap fill's at like 220. So I think if you're looking at that pattern to just play it into previous highs, well, you should already have that trade if that's your strategy. Looks like it went right into 80. So you probably could have had 79 with 1 cent plus slippage worth of risk to play it into VWAP. That's a good trade, but I didn't have it, and I paid. The locates are so incredibly cheap here at Real Trading that it's not a big deal. But you have to play off this level or wait for the $2. I'm gonna go back over to NVIDIA. I still believe like that should be the next trade for me. And there it is. There again, like it rejected 127 again. Still waiting for this to make a test of VWAP on the way back in. Either we can hold above this 27 and run it into 28, or we're waiting in for VWAP, and it can't break 27. Few shares on the offer, but nothing that should be standing in its way if it's going to be an update on NVIDIA. It should be chewing through levels of a 50, 60,000 shares should be no problem.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of that. I was just actually looking at Amazon, and I was actually thinking, all right, so the future's already up here. We just made that move. So I took another piece out right here on Amazon. Because we did fall back I mean, just right here right now anyways at 25s, but it just did fall back a little bit there, AMZN. So I'm a little bit nervous. Yeah, wake up a little bit there, guys. If we can get that going, that would be really nice. All right, so other than that, I mean, I always talk about the same names here because that's what I look at. So, all right, we'll just keep on doing that. But Amazon, if there's anything else you guys want me to look at in the chat, of course, we can do that. A name that we love to trade, or I love to trade, we both do actually, is Palantir, and it's trying to break through that $40 level. We had written down here 39 longs or 40 quarter breaks, I believe was the high. Yeah, 40 quarter breaks. So right now we don't get that 40 quarter. It came close right off the open. We don't have, for Palantir for sure, I don't have stop orders set off for the open because there's so many market on open orders, I feel like, and close orders on Palantir that it can get really influenced, but this move does come back in. And look where it goes, 39.20 now back in as well. Yeah, we're hearing in our ear about DJT. You have it up.
That stock is
Amazon 70 cents in the money and going higher right now. So I feel like we like this stock here today, Amazon. And it's just going to continue to go, I hope. Anyways, my next offer, 81.75 right at VWAP. So we have a good trade here. We just need to see if we can get it even better than what we're looking at right now with AMZN. So right now, that's a play for me. The TQs continues to go higher. We're at day's high right now. Let's go, man. This is now 100 handles in the money right now on the TQQs. So if you're trading futures, man, I was pretty confident when we put it on. We reloaded it down there, so we like it. We only have one piece left. So we'll see if we can get upside now. About that 15% left on the TQQs. We could still get more out, but let's let it go. Maybe we do get to that 20,200, and I think that would be a decent spot to let this go. So in and around $72 should be a good one right there right now. Yeah, Neil was trading Mara, not me, but we were just talking about Bitcoin being up through 64,000. So that continues to surprise, I think, to the upside there as it bounced nicely off 60. So good move upside for Bitcoin and then its friend IBIT. I don't know when exactly. I think it must be soon. Option eligibility on this, but yeah, look at that. Up 3% right there today. I don't think option eligibility changes anything for, really what we think about for Bitcoin. Those of you that are in it are probably just holding it anyways, but it does give you a little more juice. We've seen a levered product like MSTR continue to make moves there based on Bitcoin. Excuse me, when you're raising capital and then just at 5% or 7%, I don't know what their last raise was, and then just dumping it into Bitcoin. Again, we don't have the split adjusted here, but nice move there for MSTR today. Again, up 8+ points. SMCI is going, people are saying? Oh.
SMCI is making some moves, but look, NVIDIA finally made a decision here. It broke through 127, so it never really gave you a VWAP test. But the 127, it wasn't like it was a ton of shares, but it did break it through. If we lose that bid at 27, I'm going to jump out and wait for VWAP. There was selling at the $0.50 on the way up. I know it got to 127.80, but on the way up there was this 127.5. I want to take some out in front of it. We're gonna get the crypto update at the perfect time here because it's about to get to higher days on Mara. It was a short, but now all of a sudden looking a little bit strong with the group.
I think Amazon's accepting crypto here.
Yeah.
Just a quick note here on SMCI. I was looking, I couldn't find any news on it specific to today or specific to that stock, but it's worth noting. Tons of social media mentions. We're talking multiple tags in the last minute on Twitter. In terms of crypto, MSTR definitely is worth talking about here. Up about 8%, near high of days around that 191 level. Did get a positive analyst note here from Bernstein as of late saying that this stock could be driven up 64% due to its hoard of Bitcoin, which is valued around $16 billion. So Bernstein bullish on MSTR's Bitcoin hoard, as they put it. So good look there for Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy. In terms of Bitcoin itself, nice push up here for BTC. A little bit of a move here on Sunday, followed up by a nice push higher here today. Now up above that 64,000 level. Next clear overhead resistance seems to be that 66,000 level. We're currently at the last previous level of resistance we saw around late August here, that 64,000 level. So let's see what we do with 66K for BTC. Right now we're about 2K away from that potential resistance level. In terms of other names here in crypto, we have both Ethereum and Bitcoin up around 2.7%, almost identical moves upside. Ethereum, for its part, reclaiming the 2,500 level. We have lots of other strength here in these crypto names, much like what we've seen as of late. All strong together, all weak together today. We're seeing strength across the board. Dogecoin up about 2.5%. Cardano up about 3.5% here. We have Solana up about almost 4%. So lots of strength for these crypto names to start this week, guys.
Right now, 127 thanks to Dara and change. We'll take out 90 cents, 85 cents, sorry, on Amazon. As we'll take out some 60s right here and then get that right there just ahead of VWAP. That's a big trade, the big trade alert right there on Amazon. And just try to hold things for a little bit longer. The TQs are pulling back. I'm going to get out if we break 71.20 right there. So let's just put in our stop. Actually, I don't have any stops waiting for me on that one. So 71.19 or so coming through there. We'll put an offer out to stop out of the TQs. And look, man, we had that go for a nice run. But let's just wait to see. Now we're starting to pull back. Again, it's why we're starting to cash out. We're pretty much flat on Pfizer, almost, less than 5% left. And then we talked about we have about 15% still on the TQQs. So, all right, there goes Amazon right now. It is officially your third or fourth dollar club right here today, as there's Amazon. And it's written right on here. Let's take advantage of, we almost can't write any better. Let's take advantage of dip buy opportunities on Wells Fargo downgrades. Here's the dip buy opportunity, and I'd say we took advantage of it right there. It'll be P&L number, I guess Pfizer will be 1, but Amazon will be number 2. So good trading there. We'll see if we can get AMD and NVIDIA back on our minds a little bit, but only 10:33. Actually, still a lot of trading left. So, all right.
Lots of time.
Yeah, go
just very quickly, I got to get to, look, SMCI is up 9% today, and there's been a lot of people talking about it. So, like I said, I got into NVIDIA. I'll get to that in a quick second. But 9%, our charts don't split adjust. but all you got to do is take away a zero. And the levels that I saw, $46.30 and $48.50 on SMCI look like possible resistance zones. With this last breakout from 44, I'm going to look for a trend break, or I guess a trend reversal off of either of those two levels to the upside. So SMCI, this is what the 15-minute chart looks like. There isn't a red candle in sight. It is squeezing, no doubt about it. The short sellers that did the report are probably trying to get out of it as we speak, but 46.30, 48.5, going to look for trend reversals on SMCI. NVIDIA just held on to the 127, tagged 40, coming back. You can see it consolidating above that prior resistance level, so strong upshoot in here. Needs to hold this consolidation, make a run at that high of the day. I think you got room here. 130, obviously, so you're going to have some breakouts that still go, potentially on NVIDIA. Don't necessarily want to take the breaks. I want to be finding dip buys into the long, and with VWAP unavailable, want to make another higher low, set something up before we get to the 128. Mara was a missed opportunity to re-enter the short. When everything was going higher in crypto land, Mara was going lower. Now all of a sudden you've got a nice lower high. I was waiting for the high of the day, thinking that 64,000 breakout was going to take us into the high of the day, and we just shorted up there on the back end. But you're still looking weak on Mara. So as far as I'm concerned, I should be shorting every pop into resistance on Mara. And if we lose 64,000, short it underneath VWAP. So that's the new plan of action for Mara, not necessarily waiting for the high of the day. Clearly, it is weak when everything else in crypto land is strong. And Tesla, okay, so Tesla's having some serious trouble right now. It just broke the low of the day. I never flipped and thought this was going to be a short. We played one bounce off the 245, but now you're down 2% on Tesla, and it feels like we're hunting to fill this gap in. It was 244.5 that held, and the gap's all the way down into like 38. So for now, Tesla's trying to bounce off of those lows, but this has been a downward trend. It might have worked for a bounce play, but it's still a downward trending stock going into this robo-taxi event. I guess we should have looked for a pop and fade off of VWAP or something, but hey, too late for that. If we fill in the gap, I'm going to wait for 238 if I can't find some kind of a VWAP short trade to be had. Intel, I still think this can be something for the fade. When the market broke highs, this did not break highs. And you know what? This analysis and these charts and a lot of what we do here brought to you by eSignal. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to an elite trading experience. Analyze, strategize, capitalize, foresee profitable opportunities with a platform that fits your needs. Now, you can have infinite amounts of data, instant trading opportunities out there, charts that can change the game. You want back testing? That's what eSignal's all about. You want to be able to do scans? That's what they're all about. Predict the future because you understand the past. That's a key thing for trading for us. Reliable real-time data. That's always going to be a key. When volume spikes, you want to make sure your data is going to be there, right there for you on hundreds and hundreds of symbols, all in the moment, there for eSignal. Everything you need all in one place. If you want to elevate your trading, then scan the QR code or check the link in the description below. It is an elite trading experience for you. They're available on eSignal, so shout out to them. You want to talk about key support and resistance, you want to talk about pullbacks into VWAP or using moving averages such as we do here, that's all going to be available to you on eSignal. So as I said, scan the QR code below or check the link in the description of this video and check it out. 30 days free if you sign up at eSignal.com.
All right, we're into Apple right now. Yeah, it looks like it wants to get higher here. We might just have to tap out a little bit as we go because nice move up. We averaged into it. It's fine. I mean, it's not we're fine. We're not bleeding or anything here. We're short at 51s. But it had a nice move up there into these levels. So I was just trying to play it against the day's, sorry, not the day's high. Yeah, the day's high, sorry. Right there, right off the open, not the pre-market high, but right there, 80s. So it came close into 67 or so right there. We should have had a better price. But let's just get something out. We might be wrong. We'll take some flat out for flat right now. There it is. So we'll take some 51s now and get hit there on Apple. Hopefully it fades back out. But again, we are long and we're $1 in the money now. We already talked about Amazon, how good that name's been, and the futures here. But I wanted to go short on something that I liked the idea of the short. But the thing is that just because I like it, the market doesn't really think this is a great idea, as it's made a move to the upside. So we'll have to wait for that one to come back in. I'm waiting for this like 225.20s, 225.30s, maybe for a downside move there on Apple. I am bidding something at 40. Maybe we do get a move lower on that. But for right now, we'd like a retracement back down, especially if these futures go. I mean, Apple as a proxy should make a move lower, but it's actually not going down. Like, look what's happening right now in the futures. I feel like we nailed this kind of a move. And I was like, oh, the futures are getting a little bit, a little high here. Let's go and short something. And the only short idea that I had on here was Apple. We have to maybe rethink that right now because market going lower, Apple holding higher. So let's be patient with it. Let's take out another piece here on Amazon while we're able to. Huge move up, man. Let's take a 70 fill. It's $1 in the money. That's $1. That's your dollar club. One more time. It's the same club. Just the same stock there on Amazon. I don't have any offers any higher than this. We'll take another piece out as it's right there at VWAP. So let's take advantage of this just in case the market drops. We know we have Apple short if the market drops, but we don't want to be caught with our Amazon sort of with our pants on fire on Amazon. So we'll wait to see if Apple makes the move. It's making me a little nervous. I'm going to take another bid at 53 for another 10%, but our stop out is just right here. If it continues to break this 70 level, we're going to get out of Apple and sort of just say, we tried it, but we're definitely not giving a whole bunch back here on AAPL. Not trading the way I thought. We have to find a weaker name here. It might not be Apple.
Well, SMCI just did a topping tail candle and broke this trend line in here. So I'm into it off of the 40s, but I'm not going to give it a ton of room. I mean, if it breaks the high of the day, that's not even going to be where I want to hold this to. It's breaking the trend above 45.
Yes,
60,
Apple.
So that's where the stop is going to be. But we're into this one for the first time here today.
It might not go.
As we are going to, we're going to Adara for Sector Watch.
There really aren't any notably strong sectors to speak of today. There's a couple green names here in energy minerals with XOM continuing its strength. But other than that, lots of weakness. Utilities, which had a lot of upside last week, red across the board here. Retail trade, mostly to the downside, notably led here by Amazon with a Wells Fargo downgrade this morning. Lots of weakness as well here in producer manufacturing, process industries. Bit of a mixed picture here when you look at these tech names. NVIDIA and AMD on watch all week with AI summits. AMD having its own event and NVIDIA also having its own AI summit as well. So both those names on watch. But other than that, electronic technology and technology services, both a bit muted on the day with a lot of these names more or less flat. One sector to keep an eye on today and this week is finance, generally trading lower here across the board with PGR and CBE, two insurance names especially weak. We do actually have bank earnings kicking off the earnings season on Friday morning. Watch out for reports from Wells Fargo and JP Morgan. As of right now, though, pretty weak picture here for this market. So let's see if things turn around.
All right, I just heard Big Patty I say, go Apple, and I turned around and told him, I was like, I don't know if it's going to go, but we did take some out there. We took some out in the 40s. We talked about that. We only have half of our position on right now. It should have gone. Like, we just got a basically liquidity event down there to 20,150. We touched the 50 period and then just battled right back up almost immediately, that 10 cents. So I know it's not that much, but I'm getting out. So I'm already getting close to out now on AAPL. Look, still hoping for the best on all of this, but right now, Apple, hopefully it'll drop in. We are bidding another 44 here. Maybe we'll get that fill, maybe we won't. We'll take 15 cents and then let the rest drop in. But for right now, Apple's not really doing a whole heck of a lot for me here, just sitting around. So Apple on my mind, but not that much anymore. We're half in on that play. We did get out of the TQs, man. It fell in on that move. So we'll just go, yes, sir, man. We love that trade there today on the TQQs. So that's going to be a big one for us. We'll just hold back, wait to see where we can go now. But it's been a pretty good day overall. I mean, we're here. We're not exactly at our highs. I mean, Amazon came through a little bit there. The TQs, we're at our highest realized spot, but again, we gave back about 30 handles there by getting out there on the TQQs. Now let's see if we can manage this Apple trade. But yeah, so far so good here today. Amazon $1, Pfizer still cruising, but we're light on Pfizer. Maybe it's time for a reload at the 200 period? Question mark?
Where's Pfizer? 29.
All the way back down to 29.
It's already coming back. Look, I'm going to go over to SMCI. I like it when they overlap, but it just came in twice. So we have 2 shorts on SMCI. It's the only stock that I'm down on today, but it does 2 shorts on the break of the trend. Now at this point, it's almost at that 46.3 level.
These guys
We're
have
trying it off
down.
of one level. If it consolidates underneath, I'm going to take one more shot. It's either a false break of 46.30, and you have to go out to the daily chart to find $46.30. It needs to close a candle underneath, or just get an over under at that 46.3. NVIDIA worked the last time for a bit off 127, but see what's happening? Now you're getting that lower high. Again, 127 sellers are starting to win out again. I feel like you're going to have to wait for VWAP. There is a nice upward trend going on. It didn't quite get into that 125 retest on NVDA, but that's got to be the spot for me. Mara cannot seem to hold above VWAP. I was looking for that strength in BTC to take us back up into those highs. If that's going to be the case, the only place to short this might be off of one of these wicks. It's now got a bit of a defined trend line. So allow it to break back up. If we get one of those nice little reversal candles in here, we'll try to short the pops here on MARA. Like it's been a dog all morning long relative to the other crypto names. I think we want to stay net short. And the other thing we mentioned was shorting Intel off the highs. I mean, it is what it is. There is a wall selling just above afternoon resistance on Intel. It's going to be, I think, about 3 cents worth of risk if I'm able to get like 63s in here short. You can see the very clear defined top. With the market starting to pull back in, I think we're just scalping this one VWAP to the highs on Intel. Can't seem to go green or hold green with the rest of the market.
So I know we got a package coming today on Amazon because I had to buy those CR2032, those little cell batteries there because key fob was out and then the NVIDIA Shield remote was batteries critically low. So we got delivery coming in Amazon, but that's all good because right there, we'll take some more out there for that $1 on Amazon. We'll take some out as it breaks through 50 again. And the reason why is, look, man, we're already short the market here with Apple. We already got out of our TQQ trade. We already just cashed in some Apple again down there at that 40 level. So we took something out at 50. We took something out at 43 again there on Apple. So I hope it drops, but we are getting lighter and lighter. We only have a third left now of AAPL, and we're getting lighter and lighter on Amazon. Only 10% left, less than 10% left on Amazon. Pfizer is going to be the trade to look at probably moving forward if we dip into $29. Look, we let this one go at 169. I'm fine with doing that because that went to 168.25. Sure, on AMD, we probably could have held it a little bit longer on that one. We always like to do that, but at the end of the day, couldn't, right? Good move in. We're still positive on it, but this is a name that I really feel like I should be long, and I'm not. Let me just check out Intel. Again, I'm just trying to do what we do best here, and that is give you guys the trades that we're taking, talk about them, and then put them on, right? I mean, look at this Apple trade, man. We just put this on. It's 30 cents now. Big BPI, hopefully behind us, has this as well as he's looking to make some moves. There it is right now. We went over to a weak name. We put on Apple, and there it goes, right? Nice downside play here for AAPL. So there it goes, man. Hey, it's 30 cents. It's starting to go a little bit. Let's put a bid now. Let's take a 35. This would be the best fill that we could have on Apple so far, so we'll take it and then wait for a lower move. So we're on Apple. I like the stock. We've talked about that. Let's see. There it is. There's the fill at 35. We'll props it up. I hope all the trades that I'm giving to you guys make sense. I mean, as we were layering into this Amazon trade, what was I saying? I'm layering into this trade. Gave you guys some pretty easy outs and talked about that. And there it is, $1. We wanted to wait for VWAP. We did. We waited for that. That was, we had that idea. Pfizer, we talked about where to get out on that one. Apple, we justified there. Hey, BPI might have just graduated. The guy's not even here right now. 225.20 takes this Apple trade right there, and then there you go. So I was glad to see that people behind us taking some trades with this as well. There it goes. Nice move down in there for Apple. We'll bid some more in the 20s now. We'll take 40 cents. And Neil, it's snap, crackle, and stack today as we put down some stacks here for another good day trading. I mean, it's been a good one. I know you've had some good trades. There it is. There goes Apple right now. Let's go, man. Hit the sirens. And that's another well-talked about, well-positioned trade that, there you go, Big Patty Ice right there. He's seeing where Apple is. He's coming back in, sitting down, and loving life even more. 225.15. There goes Apple, man. There's 50 cents for your BPI. We just took some more out. Let's see if it gets lower than this. Yo, Adara.
We do have here the S&P 500 pushing a little bit lower here. We do have some comments here coming into Israel with regards to what's going on in the Middle East. Apparently, there's been a surface-to-surface missile being fired here from Yemen to central Israel, from what I'm seeing. Yeah, surface-to-surface missile. Also, apparently, sirens sounding in Israel. So be aware of that here. In terms of the DXY, I have this up here as well. Breaking its 5-day winning streak here with a slight move to the downside. Be aware at a bit of an interesting support resistance area here around 102.25. I'm seeing here some analysts saying the potential risks for the economy and for the US dollar include what we just have going on right now with geopolitical tensions. It's also worth noting we have some economic data coming out later this week, the FOMC minutes from that September meeting, which featured that higher than expected rate cut coming through on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Then we'll also be getting CPI on Thursday, PPI on Friday, and Fed speak all week. 4 Fed speakers today, including Fed's Bowman at 1 p.m., Fed's Kashkari at 1:50 p.m. Then after the close, we'll get Bostic at 6 and Fed's Muslim at 6:30. So tons of Fed speak today on the docket, guys.
Fed speak. All right. So well, I think that can be a good thing. We don't have to worry about them rustling too many feathers. So a couple of people in the chat were like, why are you looking only at Mara? Look at everything else. We did point out that everything in crypto land was going to the upside, but this is what I mean about looking for an opportunity short. There was the one thing we liked to the short side. Riot's up 7.5%. Bitcoin's flying. Everything crypto land is going higher. Right? Like Mara is just, it's at the low of the day again. And if we lose the bid here, I think you could fill in the whole gap from Friday's lows, the way it's weak. So I want to continue to try to short this name. I'm only in Intel right now. If we just jumped into that one.
I know you got out of SMCI, but did you see what it's doing now?
Yeah. You know what the funny thing is?
Crazy.
It's completely parabolic. After that 46.3, which is already broken out, that's why you don't see me in it. What did I say?
47.
$48.50, or formerly the 485 level, is the only thing out there. I'm not chasing this to the upside. I feel like this is a squeeze, and when a squeeze is happening, if you're not in early, yikes. But it has gone absolutely parabolic in here. So we tried the shot underneath the first level I like for a trend reverse. I'll wait till it gets to $48.50 and look for the same mean reversion trade one more time. But I feel as if the market's off of the highs, I've got to go back to the well somewhere with Mara. I thought we would get high of the day when we took 64,000. That just didn't happen. So VWAP's going to have to set up
Amazon
for me
is
somewhere. NVIDIA's right back holding 26.5. So I want to see us, look, we're on the back end of the trade.
What a trade.
Want to see it try to curl back off here. And once we do, which it looks like it's doing now, you got a bit of a buy coming in on the north side of it. Been doing pretty well this morning in terms of not taking anything outside of these dips, which I didn't love. They ended up working, but we got them early on weakness in NVIDIA and got away with it. Like this is on strength. That would be on strength. Breaking out's on strength. So I think coming in and playing it off with some strength off VWAP is going to be the better way to go. But yeah, Rob EV, SMCI, yeah, that's what a buy program, that's what squeezes and buy programs look like, that chart here today. So you would have a very specific reason to mean revert it. I'm waiting for my key price, going to put up the recent trend line, and when it breaks it, that's the entry for me. It gives me a nice tight stop if it ends up holding on to the trend. But I got to wait for that next level up to even think about testing that one.
So what's up to all my SMCI guys out here? It's too bad because we won't have Danielle anymore, but when she was on, I said to her, I like this SMCI setup down here. We talked about what it looked very, very similar to Micron. She didn't like it. Obviously, catching a falling sword is something that's very difficult to do. But at the same time, we liked it. So congratulations to anybody that was with me on Thursday's market recap show where we gave this trade idea to go long on SMCI. I'd get out close to now. If you were in this trade up to $48, congratulations on a big trade. They're 20% on that 40 long SMCI. And these charts are e-signal charts. Make sure you go click that link in the description. I've been using e-signal charts for 22 years and really, really enjoy them. Okay, there's Apple right now dropping back in. We're going to bid right here. Why not? This is a monster trade for us on Apple. The thing about Apple is not only do we there. Oh yeah, Neil. Wow, nice trade on Apple right there coming in for us on that one. Boom to the downside. Man, did we nail that? That's a Chef's kiss for me on that one. And you know what else is going through right now? Amazon. Amazon just went to 1.8 deuce right there, man. Put in $1.40 in the money there as well. Wow, what a day this has been, man. Apple continues to make that move down. We're going to be at the highest spot we've been at right now all day. Palantir bouncing, MicroStrategy, MSTR making moves as well as Bitcoin 64,000. Check in on iBit as that's starting to make moves here. It's 10:53. I don't have what's for lunch, so we do not have anything there. Every Sunday night I make like
Usually they give
basically homemade burgers. So we did that yesterday. Homemade burgers, apparently knocked it out of the park. Barbecuing does not stop around these places. So we barbecue all day, every day, even for breakfast. You throw some bacon on there, you throw on some nice sausage. Breakfast barbecuing is some of the best. You get that early morning, nice little.
We did
not too early.
We did homemade pizza last night.
Ooh, I love homemade pizza.
But we made a lot of bacon for brunch on Sunday.
Nice.
Like a lot. So it was way more bacon than we needed. My daughter didn't even finish her bacon, and sometimes she'll eat only bacon at breakfast.
Right.
Like, you have to eat your eggs too, sweetheart. And then she'll just eat more bacon. No, we had to put extra bacon on the pizza, which is never a bad thing. I think bacon on anything is good. If we had some fresh tomatoes from the garden, it was
oh man. Whew.
Oh yeah, I'm already
cherry
hungry.
Tomatoes these days are so
the cherry
good.
tomatoes are like, it's ridiculous. Not even just the ones that we have at our garden at home. It's like we get them from the farmers market. They're just as good. Like I love fresh fruit and vegetables. That's about as good as it gets.
Yeah, if you don't,
What's crazy here is
you're my son.
I just saw that move back in the market.
Oh,
and I got a little excited. Okay, we're pulling back, then we're about to get VWAP here, right? Wrong. No, we're not getting VWAP on Nvidia as the market did that little bit of a dip as Sean was short in Apple. So unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get that 126.5 again. It's still trending up. I thought we'd be a little bit more patient with it. I'm only into Intel, essentially off of these highs. I'm going to reload this right above 60 because I think we should have taken 62s the first time and not 59s. But that's where it curled. Like it curled here. We were able to get filled on the bid, so I'm going to wait for the actual highs. This could end up breaking out the top. If it does, I think there's room. If we break out here, there's at least room to the 80 level if anyone's looking long. It is a nice little bull flag setup, but the one thing I am short, and I feel like I should have already been into Nvidia again, but I thought we were getting a VWAP on that last little dip. The market pulled in pretty nicely, I was thinking. Back above the 127 level, I'm going to go for the long off 127. That's what I did last time when I didn't get VWAP, was just take it over the 27 with a tight stop and still playing at 128. We're going back to the well. NVIDIA's up 2 points today. I know it's not SMCI, but out of the traditional chip names that we usually trade, it's the one that looks the strongest, at least to me. Nick Dubs, we only got about 4 minutes to go. Do you think PayPal has a nice swing setup? That's a name that we don't really talk about as often, I think, as we could. I do like PayPal, oddly enough. The only thing about a breakout is this is PayPal. There's the highs. It needs to take them out. Pretty clean here. It's about like $81, let's call it, on the daily chart up there that it's trying to break out. So yeah, I think it's a pretty solid breakout potential, but if you don't actually break the level, usually you want to buy it off of the support. But that break to this previous resistance, that's like 5% worth of risk if it breaks out that top here. Actually, check that. Maybe like 6 or 7% more worth of risk. It's $5 or $4. It might be a little bit more than 5% there on PayPal, but it's trying to break out that 81. Needs to get through it first before I'd be looking long.
Okay, welcome everybody. We're almost ready for the midday show. We're going to get Sharif and Joe talking all about average true range, some options, any questions you have as we learn to trade. You don't need to learn to trade if you follow the sticky note. You just have to look at levels and figure it out. There's Apple 226 short. Look what we said. Fade pops for now. Fade pops. Like that's exactly what we did right there. We just posted it out. Like you got to do what you say you're going to do. Not much change in the market. I mean, we said the market's been relatively flat today, which it has. I can show you where we open and where we are now. Now we're at highs. But guess what? There's a pop in Apple, and these are fades. So we literally faded the pop there in Apple. Now we only have 10% left, less than that, as there's the move back into 225 on AAPL. So fade the pops. We waited for that. We went over to a weak name that we thought was weak anyways, and it looks like we were going to be right on that one with AAPL. So there it goes, man. Nicely done to that side. Then we also wrote down on here that we wanted to buy some Amazon on any weakness, right? And so that's exactly what we did. Buy Amazon on weakness. Look for a bounce at 180. So where does Amazon bounce at? 180.50. Where are we long? 180.69. That's a banger right there. Pfizer, we're looking long, baby. We get that Pfizer long. We put 29.60 as a break. We didn't have to get that. It gave us a much better price than that. And so we get that low there on Pfizer, put that in our pipe and smoke that one. And actually, Pfizer is going to be my #1 stock today. So well traded, I guess, on that. Apple, then the other one that we got out of was right there. Well, we got out of AMD long, which is fine. It bounced off 168.50. We had 169s. And then Tesla right there fell. It fell through 250 even before the market opened up. And the other trade on here, of course, was Palantir. 39 long or 40 and a quarter break. So I don't think we really got too much action there on Palantir. We went over to it before. Oh yeah, 30. Yeah, so this level again. So 39.50s has been basically a magnet here where we kind of bounced off of it, went up, came back in, now low side. So 39.20 if you're looking for something here on Palantir could be something there. So yeah, I mean, pretty eventful morning, I'd say. The Apple short was really good late. The Amazon short or long was really good to level into. And then the futures, a big trade with the futures. We're up, well, like I said, we're going to be up more on Pfizer, but man, oh man, did we really like this trade. Buying the dip there in the TQs and then giving it about 100 handles to the upside. So that was a really good one here into the close. So that's kind of my day in a nutshell with only 30 seconds left. We don't have what's for lunch, but we'll get that in the afternoon show.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll let you guys know how we ate, which I'm sure will be fine. With less than 15 seconds to go here, SMCI is at $48 and up 16%. Check that, 15.7%, whatever, 16% to the upside. 48.5 is resistance. NVIDIA just broke a 128. I said I didn't want any breakouts. I wanted to go for dip buy, so I'm dip buying in a prior high at 127.35. Intel's at VWAP, looks like it's heading back into the downside, but that SMCI, it's at the turn zone. At least this is where I'm looking for it in here at that 48.5. So there is your trend. It's attempting to break trend as we speak. So let's see if it does. We did swing and miss at this a couple of times. Oh, now it's going parabolic down. Give me a break. It's 11 o'clock. This is the trend reversing on SMCI as we speak. If I do get filled, I'm out at $47.50 on SMCI. Now up 13.5% over there. Let's go get them. We've got Sharif. We've got Joseph. Going to be a fun one.
Yes. What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as that midday show.